His Excellency the President in terms of saving the environment. You've seen his policy, his statement, and recently in Cabinet he also directed that we should start the process of compensating those people in the wetlands, especially those who were given these wetlands by the then colonial governments like Chigezi, Busoga, and Bukedi, and we are now starting the process. I will have a bilateral discussion with the Minister of Environment to inform her that indeed her views will be best discussed in another forum, and the best forum for discussion of the budget will be in the Cabinet. I thank you.
Thank you, Government.
Madam Speaker, I was seeking clarification from the Minister, because much as I'm very supportive of massive planting of trees, and I hail from a place which has been environmentally degraded, and I also appreciate the crucial role that leadership provides in this climate change mitigation. But the $1 million question is for places like Bududa, where we have numerous cracks. And even if you did massive planting of trees, that will not nip those cracks in the bud. Because even landslides occur in Mount Elgon National Park, where there are indigenous trees that have deep roots which you would have expected to anchor the soils firmly in the ground. What should we do? The mitigation measure should have been a relocation of the people to save their lives. But this exercise is going on at a snail's pace. For time immemorial, it is now over 10 years. They have so far attempted to only relocate and resettle 51 households out of a target over 100,000. Madam Speaker, with the change of rainfall patterns because of climate change, anything may happen in Bududa, by the way, because we are experiencing heavy downpours and landslides. And the mother of, incidentally, the minister, my good friend, Mama Mabira. Mama, no, she's still both. Hails from Bududa. The mother is my relative. And she knows how fragile the soils are, Madam Speaker. So I don't know how she would help to expedite the relocation of the people to save their lives. Information from the Honorable Modoi before you come.
Isaac.
Yeah, Isaac.
Right, Honorable Speaker. May I also join others or colleagues for praying for the Holy Father. I want to report that in our area, Bududa, it's not all about even relocation. It's management of relocation. And the police across the country. The slides and the disasters are not only for Bududa. It's a question of having a policy for the whole country to see how do we manage our environment, how to settle our people. Even those few that have been relocated to Bunambutie and Kiliandongo, the soils are already cracking. It's so dry. And when during the rain season, so wet and flooded. So to me, it's to do with the policy.
Kiliandongo also has
cracks.
Mountains.
Yes. No, our people are settled there. But when during the dry season, the cracks cannot even allow them to do any agricultural activity.
That's why we are saying we need to do afforestation and we need to do a waste disposal, so that we avoid that kind of thing. I mean, we need to do a lot for this country to avoid a lot of... let's have the shadow here.
Right, Honorable. Management. Even last week you provided us with the space to share the weather forecast. Unfortunately, we didn't have the ministers present, but I'm requesting that you still render us space to share the weather forecast such that we all become ready. Right, Honorable Speaker, the weather forecast, for example, showed that there is going to be an increase in malaria manifestation, and we are going to get a lot of dog bites and snake bites. But right, Honorable Speaker, when you go to our hospitals, most district hospitals have less than 10 doses for dog bites. And the doses are very expensive. So even when you look at most deaths of children now in most hospitals, it is due to malaria. So, Right Honorable Speaker, we thank you that the weather forecast was going to give us insights. They reported that this is good time for tourists. But yesterday, people from Rwenzori reported that all the ice is melting. So some of our staff who have been inviting tourists to come and give us money should be cognizant of this, because you might bring people and they pay for nothing. But now that the ice is melting, our lakes are going to overflow. What we need to do now is to desilt dams and also the drainages, such that as the water increases after the melting of this ice, we are able to cushion all the water from the melting. Right, Honorable Speaker, we find that the tourists would come in big numbers, but also the way, especially us people from National Unity Platform, we are handled, it threatens them. Yet we would use this season to attract more of the tourists. Right, Honorable Speaker, the proposals for relocation of some of these populations is also lacking. Some people are given options to leave my Chief Whip's place to some other places, which the population considers to be very infertile. They are not willing to go there. The best thing to do is to provide the money, and these people look out for where they can settle. Otherwise, this business of we have found this place which is very infertile for these people to go to, they will not accept and they will never accept. Those are some of the...
Thank you. Honorable Okao, you see like those rocks of ours, the cracks. When you see as a leader, when you see the cracks, when you sense there are cracks, the best thing that we can do is to educate our people the dangers of such cracks. Much as that area of ours is very fertile, people may not want to live, but they have to know the dangers. So we need to continuously educate them.
No, the level of awareness is extremely high for our people. As we talk, those that hail from the high-risk hills stay in places of worship and schools. And the ministry, the line ministry is aware of this. What our shadow minister of environment has just alluded to, the compensatory approach should be implemented fully. People are willing to be compensated and they relocate to wherever they so choose.
Honorable Minister, what
the process is very slow.
What they are asking, what is hard with you giving somebody money and saying, go and get a place of your choice?
Right Honorable Speaker, I just thank colleagues for raising issues. Right Honorable Speaker, you are aware that the intervention in those weather-prone areas like my uncle's is being handled by the Office of the Prime Minister, and it is interministerial, not only the Ministry of Water and Environment. And two, Right Honorable Speaker, we would really all want to save the lives of our people. Sometimes what constrains us and what can be deemed to be like you are lamenting is the budget envelope we have with the other competing priorities. That is why my uncle here is saying the intervention is at a slow pace, not because it is deliberate. We work within the available budget, my Right Honorable Speaker. So I would pray that on this issue, we can still have the Right Honorable Prime Minister convene us back again to fast track the activities therein. I beg to submit.
Honorable Minister, giving the early warning systems to help in sensitizing people and evacuating them to a less risky area, would that really need a lot of giving information and that kind of thing? Would that need a lot of money?
Right Honorable Speaker, let me also apologize that Last time that item appeared on the order paper, personally I was in Addis Ababa for a meeting, and when I was called upon, I wasn't, and would have had another colleague to intervene. But I have the report. Even if you want me to read it now, it is ready, and my apologies. If you put me on the order paper, even now, I can't still present it.
You've not answered what I asked. You've not answered what I asked.
The report has those details, Right Honourable Speaker.
Yes, Kiriadongo.
Thank you, Right Honourable. Talking about relocation of the people who are affected, especially Bududa, we are here mentioning about relocation. But the Bududa community were brought to Kiriandongo by OPM and abandoned. Yes, by OPM. Because as I speak right now, they promised to build 650 houses, but up to today we have less than 100 housing units for those people, and they have completely abandoned them, and they are suffering. No water sources, the roads are not graded. The district tells us they are not, it's not their mandate to take care of these people. OPM is just adamant. So if government is to relocate, we should really put a lot of pressure so that when they relocate these communities, they have to follow up and give them the care.
Government, can we have the state?
I'm off now.
Government, can we have the state of the people who were relocated from Bududa to Kiriadongo or wherever? We want to know the state of those people in terms of, are there hospitals? Are there roads? Do they have houses? And if it means a committee going to see what is on ground, the committee should go and see what is on ground. Yes.
Madam Speaker, can we get a statement on Tuesday next week?
Let's have a statement, and we'll have a committee to go to the locus. We'll have a committee to go to the locus to see what is happening with our people. Yes, Chut, let's have Chut, then you come.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. In reaction to the issue of the heat wave, northern Uganda is the worst hit. And one of the contributing factors is the indiscriminate charcoal burning and charcoal trade. Before those, the charcoal will go in open vehicles. Now they're in box bodies, they cannot be detected. There is need to come up with strong regulations on charcoal trade in this country. And I request that even another committee goes and looks at the current situation, because it is not the people from northern Uganda burning it. There are people from outside. Secondly, on the issue of afforestation, it should not just be planting trees, but what type of trees we plant. We are cutting down mahogany trees, but replacing with pine trees. Yet a mahogany tree absorbs 20 times more carbon dioxide than the pine tree. That means even if you plant the pine tree, you will not address the issue of the heat wave. So as we're coming up with the ministerial policy statement, the issue on policy of what kind of trees we are planting should come up. And I recall in the 90s, there used to be a tree census. I don't know when was the last time or when we are going to have another tree census to know how many trees we have as a country. Thank you.
Honourable members, now this takes me to when Honourable Dongoto and Honourable Gilbert were stopping those people of charcoal, those carrying charcoal, and people felt these people were not serious, but they were doing a right thing. They were doing a right thing. Now you see what is happening. But also the Minister of Energy should get an alternative sources of how people should cook, like using ethanol.
Right, Honourable Speaker, just allow me to respond to that. I thank a colleague for raising it. Indeed, charcoal burning was a problem and is still a problem. But from the policy perspective, His Excellency issued an executive order number 3. That means it needed to be implemented. As we speak, you and me. Right, Honourable Speaker, allow me to speak. Be protected.
Honourable Minister.
Yes.
When Executive Order 3 was issued, who was supposed to implement?
Right, Honourable Speaker, that's what I'm here. I wanted to let colleagues know that our enforcement arm of government, we have even roadblocks on the road. Just a moment, just wait. I will give you. We have roadblocks, right, Honourable Speaker. For example, people who come from the north towards Achua River, we have even UPDF involved. But as the colleague said, they used to transport this charcoal in the open trucks. Now they have changed styles. That needs to be...
What stops you from checking the box body?
It is being checked, right, Honourable Speaker. But, colleagues, let me just explain. I will give you an opportunity. I'm here to listen. We are trying all we can. The biggest challenge is that when the demand for and the supply, you know, the demand and supply chain, people smuggle it. What we are doing, you right, Honourable Speaker, you actually alluded that the Minister of Energy needs to put in place the alternative. Government has actually subsidized
Madam Speaker, the Minister has alleged that people who are carrying out charcoal business are smuggling within Uganda, according to her statement. But the English dictionary defines smuggling as going across the border using the porous routes. I don't know whether the minister is alleging that charcoal transportation in the country is smuggling. Moreover, it is a weakness of government where she is in charge of that docket for failing to enforce the regulations. So is the transportation of charcoal within the country a smuggling? Therefore, Madam Speaker, I don't know whether the minister is in order to use that word at this right time.
Honourable members, we must move. Can I hear from Mulop?
Right, Honourable Speaker, I'm glad we are talking a bit about the heat wave question. Meteorologists are telling us that temperatures have soared to 40 degrees Celsius, and they have told us to brace ourselves for even higher temperatures. The most affected areas are especially northern Uganda, and I hope government knows that agricultural production has been affected too. Yes, the heat wave is killing some people, as the examples we have had. People are collapsing and so on. Agriculture is being affected because crops are failing. Animals are dropping dead. Maybe government needs to come up with a comprehensive response to this matter so that we know how we proceed and people can be guided. Honourable Speaker, in the last 10 decades, our forest cover has been eaten up to 41.6%. That's the forest cover we have lost in the last 10 decades. And every year it keeps becoming deleterious. That's the reality before us. Government needs to help us understand what's the plan around these things. Because you see, these are man-made disasters that we see coming that we can impede. What's the plan around that? Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, I want to join you and this House in sending sympathies to the Holy Father. We pray that he recuperates pretty soon. I am not a Catholic, but I pride in the leadership of the Holy Father, because
I've heard him severally speak about injustice across the world, and that touches my heart. I've seen that same message trickle down even to our priests here in Uganda. Every so often you'll hear them talk about equality, talk about injustice, saying all of us should be equal before and under the law. And that's a critical thing, especially when it comes from our religious leaders. Some of the issues that Honorable Atkins Katusabe has been talking about, critical things that we do here, leaders under the Holy Father talk about. We pray and that they continue to talk about these issues. And we pray that he recuperates, Honorable Speaker. And finally, on that issue, when Honorable Atkins raised the question of, our headquarters being raised and so on, you rightly said we tasked the Attorney General and government to respond. Maybe we'll need to put a timeline to that. Whenever we don't put a timeline, government doesn't respond. With experience, whenever we put timelines, they are under pressure to come back to us. Maybe we need to do that. Thank you, Right Honorable.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. Last week, I raised an issue concerning Makerere University, where they have spent 8 years without a Deputy Vice Chancellor, Finance Administration. And the process itself, they have been searches for 4 times, but they don't conclude. For some reason is that Parliament would wish to know if the matter is referred to the House Committee. Secondly, the academic registrar is now doubling as the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, which is illegal. I have full information that a petition has been lodged to the Speaker's office. If it is true and it is in your wisdom, let the matter be referred to the committee, because these things would be fully examined. And now, because you had directed the ministry to bring a statement, they actually were circumventing what you directed, and they pretended as if they are now searching it today. Would it be pleasing to you that you refer the matter to the committee, and the business down there be suspended, and give me a short test about 2 weeks, so that this committee can really know why a university like Makerere can be there without a vice chancellor, a deputy vice chancellor, for 8 years. I so plead.
Honorable members, I received a petition from Makerere University today. Do you want to say something?
Yes.
The way you're standing, it's like you want.
Yes.
I received a petition today from Makerere University. Unfortunately enough, when the petition was brought, I was with Dr. Muyingo. And Dr. Muyingo said, we are already handling this issue. However, that does not stop me from bringing the petition to the House. My team is preparing the petition according to Rule 30 to be brought to the House, and will bring the petition on Tuesday to the House. And I think Dr. has more information.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I thank my brother and the team for raising the issue of Makerere University. As we all know, Makerere University is our oldest university, and a university that is known international. And it is true what he has raised on this floor concerning the administrative challenges. And I want to confirm on this floor, Madam Speaker, that surely when an advert was made and the right candidate could not go through, there is still room for another opportunity. But for this specific one, I want to confirm, as my colleague Honorable Mwingo was with you this morning, that the ministry together with Makerere University, we are working on this subject matter. But nevertheless, we can still bring it and discuss it further on this floor. But otherwise, the ministry has taken responsibility and working on it. I thank you.
There is a government wants to say something. Yes, a clarification from Honorable Elijah.
Thank you. I wanted the Honorable Minister, I wish he could listen. Honorable Minister, Doctor, you said the rightful candidate did not go through. Can you clarify what you mean by that statement?
Madam Speaker, when we have an advert, there are specific qualification and a specific criteria. And of course, when the people who apply for that position did not meet the qualification, and that's why I said it might not be the right person, and there is still room to get the right person for that position.
Point of order. Point of order.
Honorable members.
Point of order.
Honorable members. Honorable members. Let's avoid some kind of embarrassment in the House. From the documents I looked at, there are people who did interviews. There were 3 people who were subjected to the final interviews, who went through the Senate. From the Senate, they had a written interview. From the written interview, they now had to go into secret ballot. And consistently, one person was leading. Consistently in all the 3 interviews. But when it came to giving instrument, they said you are not the right person. Let's see how to settle this thing quietly without embarrassing ourselves further. Because if it is a person we earmarked or who was earmarked who did not go through or ring-fenced, then next, yes,
you.
Prime Minister, as you come in, I also met. I also got a petition from Makerere University. There's a strike in Makerere University. There's also a strike in Kiambogo. Save for Honorable Musasisi, who acted on Makerere very fast, but there's still a strike in Kiambogo. So look at all these universities and see what you can do best and how you can handle the issue.
Right, Honorable.
What we want is a solution.
Right, Honorable.
Yes. Excuse me, you don't switch
Madam
on. My
Speaker.
son, don't switch on.
Madam Speaker.
There is also Gulu.
Madam Speaker, as you have guided, as government, we are going to look into the issues which has been raised by the honorable member about Makerere and the strikes. But I also wanted to use this opportunity because members raised very serious issues regarding the environment, especially banning of selling of charcoal and others. And the government has a number of initiatives to have alternatives in this regard. I wanted to request, Madam Speaker, if it pleases you, that we can come up with a statement next week to update the House on how far we are going so that we can have an input from this. So I wanted to request that next week we come to update the House on alternatives, because the issue of environment is so serious that this House needs to continue being updated, but also debating this matter.
Yes. Let's have a statement next week, and we'll see how best we can mitigate whatever is happening on issues of heat waves and the issue on Madam Disaster. Honorable Abe, our people you transferred from Bulamboli were dumped, allegedly dumped in Kiriadongo, they don't have houses, they don't have latrines, they have nothing. So we also want a statement on what you've done to our people in Kiriadongo. And a committee will go together with you to visit the locus and see what is happening with our people. Yes. Next item.
Item 4 on the order paper, laying of papers, the Education Service Commission Annual Performance Report for the financial year 2023-2024.
Honorable members, Article 168(4) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, and Section 8 of Education Service Act 2002 requires Education Service Commission to report to Parliament annually on the performance of the functions of the Commission. And pursuant to Rule 31 of the Rules of Procedure, I will now invite the Minister of Education and Sports to lay the report. Can she lay then you come?
Madam Speaker.
Yes, please lay.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, I beg to lay the Education Service Commission Annual Performance Report for the financial year 2023-2024. I beg to lay.
Thank you. Pursuant to Rule 32(5) and 189 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, the report stands referred to a Committee of Education and Sports for consideration and report back to the House. Aisha.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to raise this matter under point of privilege. Right Honourable Speaker, first I join colleagues in wishing the Pope a quick recovery. But, Right Honourable Speaker, even us as members of Parliament, we are not sure whether we are safe. This morning, we saw someone who set herself on fire in front of Parliament. I expected that was supposed to be...
Was it herself or himself?
I am not sure whether it was her or himself. I didn't see very well the face because the trouser is not enough to tell. But he or she was putting on a yellow trouser. Right Honourable Speaker, I expected this matter to come in your communication. It brings a lot of questions. What was the intention of this person that left his home to come and set himself on fire in front of Parliament? What was he expressing? Did he communicate anything? Is it an attempted suicide? Is it a terrorist action? So not getting information, details on that action leaves us in suspense and puts us in doubt of our security. I pray that you speak to it, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Aisha and honourable members of Parliament, I strictly communicate what comes within my knowledge. I am actually hearing what you're saying for the first time. My office is closed. I don't sit in the street there to see whatever happens. I will follow it up and find out what happened. I will find out what happened, and once I've found out what happened, then I will communicate to the members. And if it so happened, then it was a very unfortunate incident. Next.
Most obliged, Right Honourable Speaker.
Just,
thank you.
just know that I'll communicate when I get the information. Yes, Jonah.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Madam Speaker, under the Presidential Elections Act, I recall Section 3 or 4, all aspirants for presidential positions are allowed to hold consultations in preparation of their manifestos, but also gathering the necessary information. One of the intending aspirants, the Honorable Jimmy Akena, MP for Lira East, has kick-started this consultation. He was in Leptong and Otuke, and the police interfered with his consultation to the extent that they fired tear gas. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Jimmy Akena is consulting on behalf of UPC. And we plan to do further consultations in TESO beginning on the 1st. And yesterday, Madam Speaker, you issued a warning to NUP about how to enter TESO. And now we are getting worried because the people of TESO have invited us to go there. But yesterday you said certain things will not happen.
Please go to TESO, but don't bring our old men to parade in town. They can die on here, and you'll have no answer for it. Go to TESO. It's very free. You're very free. Yes.
Thank you. So
UPC is everywhere.
So, Madam Speaker, this question I wanted to ask the executive, because the main point is that the police has started interfering with the right of presidential aspirants. They have started with the UPC, but next time you never know who is next. Yeah, and we...
From TESO. Thank you.
The interference was not in TESO, it was in Lango.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Jonah. We are aware NRM and UPC are in alliance. As the marriage
actually
collapsed,
in bed together.
Yeah, they're in bed together. As there have been problems in the marriage, what is causing all this thing here?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to clarify. The Honorable Elijah Cooper is a former member of UPC. When parents have chosen to divorce, you the children, you don't enter to ask questions. So please note that the UPC is making consultations, but we wanted guarantee from the executive that the law allows aspirants to consult in preparation for their manifestos. And there has been interference. A potential presidential aspirant for GEMA is here.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, I respectfully ask.
Presidential aspirant for GEMA on issues of UPC and NRM. Don't go into it because they are one and the other.
I'm just giving information on matters of the law. Honorable Jonathan, actually the law says a year before the nomination, people who intend to contest can actually engage in consultations. So I, in addition to what you are saying, I hope they get to know that it's actually a legal command. That's the information I wanted to share.
There is another information from
But I'll be a presidential candidate in the coming years, not now.
Nalebtong.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on the issue that was raised by my brother, Honorable Jonathan, about the UPC team in my district of Aleptong, the information I have, which I would like to give, is that we had challenges. The UPC team were not following the guidelines which were issued by the IGP. And I'm talking about what I have, which was issued in the letter. And these are all our people. So what caused the tension was majorly because the guidelines which were issued were not being followed. Otherwise, whatever went on in my district was largely peaceful, except on 2 incidences, which was about failure to follow the guidelines.
Thank you. That is a landlady talking. That is a landlady. Yes, Honorable Jonathan, can you finish?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wanted to take information, then I conclude.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the information I wanted to give is that in 2016, in the case of Honorable Mama Mbabazi against His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Supreme Court was very clear on that aspect of consultation by those who intend to be candidates presidential, and even gave the guidelines on how it must be done. So I invite and implore our colleagues who intend to contest as the presidents that you look at that particular provision and then read, yes, and read what the Supreme Court said as far as consultations are concerned, so that you get to know the guidelines on how Supreme Court guided on that particular aspect. And in that way, we shall avoid all these fights that we are talking about.
Thank you.
That's the information I wanted to give. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, thank you. I thank colleagues who have provided useful information, and I disregard the ones that are not useful. The ones that are not useful. So I kindly ask, Madam Speaker, that the executive answers to this question to reassure the country and all potential presidential and even other aspirants that their right to consult and prepare their manifestos are guaranteed. If there are any guidelines issued as alleged, that guideline must come to Parliament here so that we can check to see it conforms to the spirit of the law that we passed. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Government.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Honorable Jonathan, a member of the UPC, for raising that concern. And on behalf of government, we want to assure you, as you already know, that government will continue to guarantee the rights of every Ugandan as long as you are working within the law. So if the UPC candidate is operating within the law, we will and we shall protect their right.
Next.
Item 7 on the order paper, bill second reading.
Honorable members, I want you to bear with me. There is a bill, not a very long bill, but the minister would love to leave early. We could dispose of that bill, then we come back to the normal to the other item. So kindly bear with me.
Item 7 on the order paper, bill's second reading, the Human Assisted Reproductive Technology Bill 2023.
Honorable members, as you may be aware, parenthood comes with numerous challenges, some of which are related to fertility and reproductive health. Human-assisted reproductive technologies have emerged as a solution to have these challenges resolved. However, there is a need to have the legal, ethical, and social regulations for application of such technologies. The bill is aimed at providing an appropriate legal regime to govern the application of human-assisted reproductive technologies. You may recall on 21st July 2022, Honorable Saro Pendi was granted leave to introduce the Human-Assisted Reproductive Technology Bill as a private member pursuant to Article 94(4)(b) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Rule 121 of the Rules of Procedure. She tabled the bill for the first reading on Tuesday, 5th March 2023, and it was referred to the Sectoral Committee on Health in line with the Rule 129(1) of the Rules of Procedure. The committee is ready with the bill and ready to report. However, before the committee reports, the Minister of Health will first move a motion to that effect. The sponsor will work together with the minister.
Thank you so much, Madam Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, as you have been told, I want to thank you for accepting this bill to come before because of the reasons that have been mentioned. Right. Wait for me. The Prime Minister. No. No. She's the one who has called me. That's what I wanted to say.
Honourable members, before we get the minister, the AG has an opinion to that effect.
Madam Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the Human Assisted Reproductive Technology Bill has been called. However, I humbly pray that this bill be deferred for a very short time to allow us as Attorney General's chambers and the First Parliamentary Council to harmonize a few things, because there are some technical areas we need to look at the bill of the Ministry of Health.
Yes, Flavia.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, we are not going to sit in this Parliament as members of Parliament who have an order paper, who have various bills that are always introduced to us in time and are very ready to look at the work that we have to process in Parliament, and then we have a whole Attorney General coming here informing us that they are very unprepared in their team to be able to listen to a bill at a second reading, as if they never knew that there was a bill that was going to be presented. Is it in order for the Attorney General to display his levels of recklessness, unpreparedness? What else? Other words, all those negative words. Is it in order for him to come here and
Honourable
distribute that?
Flavia,
Thank you very much.
Honourable Flavia, that's a very harsh word. It is unparliamentary. Yes, Honourable Flavia. Honourable Flavia, You've just said the very harsh word that I can't mention it. Just withdraw that one.
Honorable Speaker, let me just remove which word? Reckless. Okay, unprepared and incompetence and the
no.
Unpreparedness, okay. And they even request us to reschedule a whole parliament when the minister is even very ready to present. That is very, very unjust and unfair and insensitive.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Right on the Speaker.
Procedure. Procedure.
Information.
Yes.
Right on Speaker.
Honorable members.
Clarification.
Honorable members. Processing a bill is not that easy. The members have put a lot of energy to prepare this bill. You cannot come to us at this time. You cannot come to us at this time and say we are not ready, we need to harmonize. I am, honorable members, when I look at the number of persons who were consulted on this bill, look at the bill itself. It will show you the kind of people who were consulted, including Mulago Hospital, the Women Hospital, all those kind of people were consulted. If I am giving you time, because this is a simple bill, and this bill was drafted by senior doctors, gynos. Can I have the bill tomorrow on the order paper?
Madam Chair, permit me to clarify to the House. On the 9th of April last year, a letter was written requesting that we sit and harmonize. This letter was written by the Minister of Health. This harmonization was not done.
By Minister who?
The letter I have here, and I'm going to lay it on table, it is written by the Minister of Health. So this was not done. I feel uncomfortable processing this bill now. That's why I requested that it be deferred. And I'm comfortable if the Speaker says tomorrow, I'm going to sit with the Honorable Cheng and the First Parliamentary Council and the Minister of Health, and we see what can be done. So just to clarify to my colleague who thinks it is recklessness, it is not.
Honorable AG, you said you're not comfortable with the bill? Are you
Right,
okay
Honorable,
with it
I said I will take your guidance to come. We are going to have a discussion with the Dr. Acheng.
Granted. We will have that bill on the floor tomorrow, and Honorable Sarah is just exercising her constitutional mandate under Article 94, 4B of the Constitution of Uganda, and Rule 121 of the Rules of Procedure. I mean, if you don't show a sign and come and do reconciliation with a private member, what do we do? Should we stop working because you're too busy? We can't.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank you for the patience and the guidance. Right Honorable Speaker, I remember I appeared before you and the Honorable Saro Pendi. You advised us that we should wait for the Attorney General, and because of the reasons that you had given in my case, and we waited for the Attorney General, and the Attorney General, we are on your advice that me, as a Minister of Health, private member, and Attorney General, as you have guided, we sit, we reconcile. Even we are not consulted in all of this. We are not against the bill. We are not against the bill. We are only going with the Attorney General per the Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker directed me and Sarah to consult with him. So what is Honorable Pendi? So we agree, Honorable Pendi, we have been waiting for the Attorney General. He is here. So the three of us, we are going to meet and we finish.
Go. Honorable members, Honorable Anifa, Honorable AG, Honorable Sarah, go and harmonize. And the chair of the committee and the vice chair of the committee, go and harmonize.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, it's okay to harmonize, but I'm also aware that the Committee of Health invited various stakeholders, including the Ministry of Health. So since you have guided that we have this bill tomorrow, it is okay with me. I think we'll go and reconcile and get back to you. But I know that the team did an excellent work, Right Honorable Speaker. And when you look at the committee report, yes, they agree with most of the provisions that we actually have in that bill.
You want to debate in anticipation?
No, I'm not debating. I'm just informing.
No. Go.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Go and do it. Honorable members, in the VIP gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of officials from Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda, who are part of the joint East African bid that we won the rights to host the African Cup of Nations in 2027. That is AFCON. They include Honorable Kabudi, the Minister of Information, Culture, Art and Sports of United Republic of Tanzania. You're most welcome, Honorable Minister. The Mr. Mushigwa Gasson, the PS Ministry of Information, Culture, Art and Sports, United Republic of Tanzania. You're most welcome. Engineer Peter Tum, the PS of Youth, Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, Republic of Kenya. You're most welcome. And they are accompanied here by the Ugandan officials. We have Dr. Gwel. You are most welcome. They are here on a courtesy visit. They've been brought here by Honorable Gwang Peter, the Minister of State for Sports. You're most welcome. Join me in welcoming them. Honorable Ministers and the PSCs, you're most welcome to Parliament of Uganda. And we want to thank you for the work you're doing for AFCON. And Uganda is always home. You're always most welcome home. And we wish you well in the preparation of AFCON 2027. Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, first of all, on behalf of the Minister of Education and Sports, the First Lady, on behalf of the FA President Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania, and on behalf of CAF in a special way, I would like to begin by thanking Parliament for supporting the Pamoja bid AFCON 2027 and CHAN 2024. Colleagues, we have just concluded a very important meeting here in Uganda under the invitation of CAF. CAF is the Confederation of African Football. I would like to thank my colleagues, the Honorable Ministers of Sports from Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. And I want to say thank you for coming home. This is our National Assembly. You're most welcome. I also want to thank the permanent secretaries of the 3 East African countries of Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. I've been corrected here by the leader of opposition that I should say, Karibu Nyumbani Sana, in the spirit of East Africa. Friends, I want to conclude by saying it's a reality. Beginning 2nd of August 2025, we will be hosting 19 countries of the African continent in the CHAN competition here in Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. We have just concluded an inspection by CAF 2 days ago, and I confirm we are ready to welcome Africa to East Africa. I wish you all the best, and I say all this for God and my country. As Uganda, Madam Speaker, in a special way, I would like to thank you for always being there for sports in Uganda. Thank you so, so much for standing with us whenever we talk about sports in Uganda. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, honorable members, Honorable Gwang,
yes. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for the information that he has given, and to the guests that have visited us in Uganda. Welcome to Uganda. However, as you all know, women also play football. So when I see a delegation of men alone, I am wondering where the women are. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to request and appeal to the Minister and to our guests that I hope that there is space for the women to also be part of your delegation. Thank you so much.
Madam Speaker, for the record, Honorable Pend is aware that the Minister of Education and Sports is a woman, and she's the one who was chairing the meeting. So for the record first, that makes it complete.
Honorable Minister, Honorable Pend is politely asking that can she give the visitors a push. That is polite.
Madam Speaker, I welcome Honorable Pendi for giving us with your permission. And by the way, our dear guest, Honorable Pendi, comes from Tororo. And when I talk about Tororo, Tororo is at the border between Uganda and Kenya. So we can be able to welcome, to allow with permission from Speaker that we really permit us to allow Honorable Pendi accompany.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for coming. And as a way to host CHAN, we pray that one of the countries becomes the leader. One of the 3 countries becomes the winner. Either Uganda, Tanzania, or Kenya, because they are all in the 19. No, it is Ubuntu, the principle of Ubuntu. Ubuntu. You know, one time we were asking the president, when we go to Tanzania, I wish we could beat those people. Then the president said, no, even if they beat, that is our first home. So we are all brothers and sisters. You're welcome, and we thank you so much for coming. Next statement.
Item 3 on the order paper. Statement by the Minister on the Uganda National Examinations Board UNEB grading system under the new curriculum. Response by the Shadow Minister of Education and Sports.
Honourable members, you recall on Thursday, 20th February 2025, the Minister of State, Honourable Peter Ogwang, presented a statement here on the Uganda National Examination Board, UNEB, of the grading system for the new curriculum. We could not debate that statement because the Shadow Minister had to bring a statement to that effect. And now we are ready to receive a statement from the Shadow Minister, and the report should be backed by evidence. Please do.
Thank you,
present.
Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Last Thursday, when the Prime Minister was responding to national issues, Madam Speaker, you're aware that you had granted me permission to raise an issue about the Kikorongo Pondwe Road. Madam Speaker, December 7th, the President went to Compensatory.
Why don't we bring that tomorrow? Tomorrow, when it's Prime Minister's time.
The problem is not the
action.
The problem is not the Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, is the Minister for Finance, because the contractor is already on the side.
We are distorting our proceedings. The flow of proceedings is being distorted. Remember, this is being registered. So the moment we do this, let's finish the debate on the report on education, then you can bring it at the end. The minister is not going anywhere. He's here.
Much obliged, Madam Speaker. I'm going to raise it after the report.
Honorable
Thank you.
Shadow.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And before I read the report, it would be fair if I don't talk about the Pope as a Catholic and an evolved one. Allow me also to say my prayers and pray for our Pope. And you are luckier than me. For you see her regularly with even the twins. We want to thank God for your blessing. I have not seen him physically, but we are praying. He went to South Sudan. You see what he did there, and there's some light of hope there. But I also pray for the Pope. Madam Speaker and honorable members, allow me to read this statement from the Shadow Minister as the speakers are giving me this space. Madam Speaker and colleagues, the government, through the Ministry of Education and Sports, presented a proposal to Parliament to allow the rollout of the new lower secondary curriculum in February 2020 with the aim of ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. This was, however, met with the mixed reactions as seen in the Hansard reports of February 4th, 18th and 20th of 2020. The implementation of the new lower secondary curriculum was compromised by inadequate teacher training, insufficient learning materials, lack of enough infrastructure, and the absence of pilot studies as an assessment methodologies. The proposal's initial rejection was overturned through cabinet intervention, which required ongoing stakeholder engagement to improve it. However, the government and Ministry of Education and Sports are still working to overcome the difficulties that arose from this situation 4 years ago. Additionally, Madam Speaker, under this new curriculum, assessment is assumed to be competent-based. However, the reality on the ground is different. Competence learning calls for investment in school infrastructure development to handle learners' needs. For example, there should be availability of computer laboratories with electricity and internet, ICT lessons, well-equipped laboratories for science lessons, libraries for research work, learning materials, and teachers' guidances. Additionally, Madam Speaker, the combination of old and new curricula plus overcrowding and teacher shortages with a ratio of almost 1 to 100 made it impossible for most schools to focus on competence-based learning. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Education and Sports inability to recruit and deploy teachers for core subjects like Swahili, religious education, physical education, and entrepreneurship at senior 1 and 2 level is hindering the successful implementation of the new curriculum. Madam Speaker, could we receive an update on the Ministry's progress in addressing this critical issue on staffing gaps. The National Curriculum Development Center reviewed and approved certain books, textbooks for use in schools. However, Madam Speaker, additional resources were made available on the NCDC website. Some educators have raised concerns that the content of these books may vary, creating uncertainty among teachers regarding the occurrence of the study materials. Therefore, there has been a glaring issue on the many uncontrolled publishers of instructional materials of both teachers and students. The government failed to supply enough books in schools, neither did it commit on which books to be used by both the teachers and students. This left schools to improvise, leading to many of them purchasing any book they found on the market, many of which have very shallow information on the topics. Others decided to continue using the ones of the old curriculum. Further, the lack of sensitization and communication on the new grading system led to widespread confusion and discontent among key stakeholders, who are the students, parents, and educators, following the release of 2024 Uganda Certificate of Education results. Madam Speaker, key issues: reporting and grading certification. Right Honourable Speaker, according to the release statement issued by UNEB, Director, and I quote, actually, Mama, during implementation, there were challenges. This is UNEB. Mama, during implementation, there were challenges encountered such as lack of efficient IT infrastructure in many schools, which was a major constraint in the ability for schools to make timely submissions of continuous assessment scores to UNEB. The volumes of data that UNEB must receive and store requires larger capacity servers at UNEB. There is the challenge of shortage of school laboratory facilities. The new curriculum, being skills-based, requires that science labs and workshops are well equipped to give the learners enough chance to create new knowledge through self-learning. Unfortunately, many rural and private schools lack these and are also short of science teachers. In addition, Madam Speaker and colleagues, the new curriculum emphasis on practical application has raised the questions about the relevance of theoretical subjects like history, CRE, and geography to real-life problem solving. Besides, the scoring system consisted of grades A, B, C, D, and E, but the specific marker ranges corresponding to each grade were unclear and ambiguous. Madam Speaker and colleagues, the scores set to UNEB were awarded students by teachers from their continuous assessment from S3 Senior 4 as stated in the new curriculum. Please note that the requirement for schools to print the Uganda National Examination Continuous Assessment Observation Checklist for project work assessment raised the concerns about feasibility, particularly for schools with large numbers and those in remote and hard-to-reach areas. One wonders how schools with thousands of students were supposed to print out these 12-page forms for every learner, every subject. It's worth noting that a ream of papers priced at 25,000 is only sufficient for 44 students. This results in additional expenses for larger schools, which are then passed on to parents, contradicting the government's policy of free education. Furthermore, educators have, actually, Madam Speaker, on this issue of reams, the form that was given was 12 pages, and a school of 600 students had to spend at least 16 million on reams alone leave alone the printing expenses. But we shall see that. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, educators have expressed concerns regarding inadequate training on utilization, these checklists, which raises questions about the reliability of the assessment results. The evaluation of learners' values, including teamwork, attitudes, morals, and respect, was expected to be a key component of their assessment, but this is not reflected in their scores. How was this measured? The collection and the transmission of continuous assessment marks to UNEB for the 20% assessment component posed significant challenges for many schools, which lacked essential infrastructure such as computers, electricity, and internet connectivity. This raises concerns about the accuracy and the reliability of the compiled marks. Credible sources indicate that certain schools awarded marks to students who did not complete project work, raising concerns about the integrity of the results, especially concerning the absence of UNEB's oversight. Can UNEB provide evidence of project work? The fact is, it is not possible. Do schools have storage facilities for project work? It's worth noting that the UNEB application collapsed in September 2024, resulting in significant concern, especially with the alternative method of assessment, in bracket AMIS, being introduced. Many head teachers reported difficulties in uploading continuous assessment marks, and some were even advised to use CDs to record the marks and deliver to UNEB for upload. Some schools shared their marks with the neighboring schools. It's unclear whether the UNEB app was under test, but the collapse suggests that the system may not have been fully prepared to handle the volume of users or data. Madam Speaker, a circular issued in September 2024, as I will lay later, introduced changes to the project work, shifting the focus to S3, S4 learners, from S1, S2, and introducing a new theme. These themes are usually sent late. For example, the one for last year was sent in September when some schools had already submitted their project marks to UNEB. This means that the marks that had earlier been submitted were not in line with the UNEB with a new theme. How was this mitigated? Most of the project work requires materials that go at a cost. For example, ingredients to make soap, threads, fibers, and bottles, among others. This calls for a financial burden on the parents, guardians, since these materials are no longer free, especially to town schools. Regional Speaker, in Kampala City, which is within the proximity of UNEB, training of teachers on project work assessment was done after the submission of results to UNEB. This means that teachers trained learners on what they did not know themselves. It should be noted that UNEB did not supervise the process of project work, neither did it send supervisors to check the final product of the students' work as observed with the art assessment in the old curriculum. Yet, it's an examination that carries 20 of the final mark. It only sent a checklist for the scores. Students were expected to prepare records explaining their activities of project work by school cameramen, and these videos were kept at school. One wonders if there is evidence of these videos in schools or at UNEB. With the rampant examination malpractices, as reported by UNEB, many times sponsored by the teachers. How credible are the results of project work, which is a standalone paper on the passive? Many schools are complaining that some of their students had very good project by UNEB standards, but they were given low grades ranging from B to D. It is unfortunate that parents cannot access scripts, but those who marked have a long story to tell. Project work also has a component of dissemination where a learner is supposed to publish a project report through newspapers, exhibition, magazines, or library. How then does this report reach UNEB for assessment? Madam Speaker and members, it's worth noting that the marking exercise was disrupted by examiners boycotting over low pay and heavy workload, leading to recruitment of new examiners who may have lacked experience or training in the marking process. How can Ugandans trust the competence of these examiners? Madam Speaker, the question is, how did UNEB get 20% to add up to the 80 where there were no inspectors for project work from schools? Did UNEB just award scores? Is there evidence of project work in schools? Certification. As part of the new lower secondary curriculum, the minister promised dual certification, UCE and DIT. However, the implementation of DIT was halted midway. Madam Speaker, can this House be updated on what is being done to realize this dual certification? Senior 5 selection criteria. Students under the transitional program in 2023, in addition to the many who got result 2 and 3 under the new curriculum, did not qualify for UNEB certification. Can this House be updated on the fate of learners who were declared failures and what plans the Ministry of Education has for these students? Actually, Madam Speaker, I raised it and thank you for giving me that room. What is happening today, all our students who come from private schools, who got A's and had applied, for example, St. Mary's Kwechisubi, Namagunga, they have taken them, but St. Mary's and those, I'm giving examples, not particularly those particular schools, they have refused to give those young people the science courses they want because these schools had their students in the O-level they want to take. And as a result, these ones from private schools, they are going to run away after being sent there by selection. They will not, because they have refused to give them the courses they want. And that is for the ministry. That's another food for you. What are the recommendations from the shadow minister? Issues, we propose this. Government must prioritize teachers training and recruitment, particularly in languages like Kiswahili. There is no shortcut, and the teachers are there. Government should, with concern, invest in school infrastructure, including ICT and science laboratories. Madam Speaker, UNEB should supervise the assessment of the 20% awarded to learners as done in other subjects like French, music, and fine art. I did the music. UNEB came and I had the externals came, I did the practicals before them, and I passed. Even in language, we had the same. In the conclusion, Madam Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker, it is evident that the Ministry of Education and Sports has faced significant challenges in implementing the new lower secondary school curriculum, as reflected in the unexpected and surprising results of 2024 cohort. This will go a long way to see great improvement in the dissemination of the competence-based new lower secondary curriculum. I have attached the different annexures which informed this statement, and they are, I beg to lay.
Let's lay.
This is the statement of release. No, the statement. of release of results of UCA under the competence-based curriculum, where UNEB gave its own evidence that they had challenges in collecting the 20% and competence-based. I beg to read. Madam Speaker, this is the statement.
What is that you have laid?
Hmm?
What have you laid?
This one. I want to read this, Madam Speaker. Statement of release of results of the 2024 Uganda examination certificate of education UCE examination under the competence-based curriculum. This was for UNEB, but because I have referred to it in my statement, I want to, it is annexed here, I want to lay.
Okay.
Then I talked about challenges they faced by Uganda National Examination Board continuous assessment observation checklist for the project. This is a document of 12 pages, which was supposed to be filled by every child, and it is believed that it could not work out because a school getting copies for every child, it was very costly, and as a result, they must have used some methods to move and get marks. I beg to lay. Then, Madam Speaker, this is the Uganda National Examinations again. Continuous assessment observation checks list. This one must be photocopied, I think, every day for every child. Every day for every child. And you can know the expense it requires. I also beg to lay. And Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. But otherwise, we need, there is no going back. But how do we correct the challenges you have in the new lower secondary school curriculum? You see, the fact is, Madam Speaker, children failed. And if they fail, we must address the challenge as Parliament and as government. Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shadow. I am happy the Shadow is saying we cannot go back. We can only work on what is there for us to improve and get better results and continue with the curriculum. And that's a very good recommendation. On the issue of promotion of Swahili, remember we budgeted for it. We budgeted for Swahili, and it should really, Minister of Education, I hope that budget went to Minister of Education, because it should be Minister of Education to implement, to pay the teachers. And then the issue of infrastructure is a very serious matter. Because in this continuous assessment, in the, what exam is that where somebody, the project work. In the project work, you will find a kid who says, for me, I want to do swimming. I want to be assessed in swimming. Now, the school does not have a swimming pool. What do you do? The kid says, I want to do this, and you must assess that kid. So the issue of the infrastructure is talking about is very crucial. Very, very crucial. It may not be in computer alone, but also look at the labs, look at libraries, and all that kind of thing. And you find most of these problems are mostly in government schools. Yes, Obi.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Okay, Manager.
Right Honorable Speaker, for record, it's still we went to the same school for record. I want to thank the Shadow Minister, because what he has highlighted is actually what is happening in the public. and this is not a matter of whether government or opposition. This is what is actually happening. But Honorable Speaker, many government schools really lack what government is asking for. Many of them in our constituencies. The government, UNEB examines students in computer literacy. Many of our schools in the villages, including seed schools, lack computer labs.
But leave alone lacking computer labs. Do they have power?
That's where I'm coming. Those that have power lack computer labs. Those that don't have power lack both computer labs, computers, and actually the power. And these are examinable. These are examinable courses. I have a child in SMAC, and I found a parent who along had desired and prayed for that her child should go to SMAC. And the reason she was giving on reporting it, and that's when she got to know that what she was looking for was not actually in SMAC. Because she wanted her child to go to Germany after senior 4, so that the child stays there, and she was planning a better life for. That's the on reporting day. That's when the school administration told her that no, we no longer teach German here, because we were instructed to select one language. So that's when the parent got to know. And after the child had already been admitted. So there are very many. But also there's the other issue of not granting a certificate to someone who has failed.
Who has got a 2.
Who has got a 2. Who
Results
actually,
too.
Right Honorable Speaker, failure doesn't mean that you should not be. This is not a reward. This is an award. So the assumption is that when you fail, you don't get a certificate. The certificate is like a reward. No, this is an award that indeed you sat and failed. And this is evidence. This is evidence that you failed. Otherwise, because there are somewhere where you ask, did you sit? There's a difference between did you sit senior 4 or did you pass senior 4? Those are two different things. So that student should have evidence that indeed he sat. That's why some parents think, and there's this illusion is in the public, that when you don't get a certificate, you have to go back to senior 1. That's the assumption in the public. No. Because you are seeing a child who has studied from senior 1 to senior 4 and comes back without a certificate. So yes. Really, there's somewhere, Honorable Minister, where we...
Honorable Minister, they are saying much as you failed,
yeah,
you should be given a certificate to show that you failed.
Because there are institutions where they give...
Because what is outside there in the public is that because you do not have a certificate, you're going to go back to S1, which is not correct. Yes.
As I conclude, because some institutions even give certificates of attendance. And we have seen people trying to contest for positions. They put together all their certificates of attendance, and those are equivalent to attendance. So, if someone who went to an institution and studied for maybe 2-3 months or 6 is getting a certificate of attendance, what about the one who sat and studied for a full 4 years? Really should get certificate. Otherwise, we are going to send everybody to NASA Road to manufacture certificates.
No,
Madam Speaker, permit me to
no,
say that
you
there is transcript and certificate.
No, yeah. Honorable Minister, take note of all the questions and then you respond. And honorable members, don't repeat what your colleague has said, so that we're able to, all of us, to be able to deliberate upon. Noya?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Flavia doesn't even know her neighbor.
Honorable here for bringing us a summary of the key issues that we have been grappling with. Madam Speaker, maybe to begin with the previous speaker, It is not true that when you sit senior 4 and you fail, you get nothing. If you fail to get certificate, you get a result slip. That shows that you have actually failed. Yes. So it is not true.
Honorable members, listen carefully so that nobody raises that issue again.
Sure. So that it is not true that you don't get something to show that you have sat senior 4. Madam Speaker, it is very important that this is competency-based examination. And it should not be, nobody should be shielded from the fact that she has scored well or she has failed. My request to Minister is to make clarification in those gradings.
A, B, C.
A, B, C, D. It must be very clear and precise. Because as you go for examination, and it is competency-based curriculum, you want to be number 1. You want to be number 2. You want to be excellent. You want to be the best in the country. And this should be very clear. Lastly, Honorable Minister last year told us the training of teachers. And in her report, she said there were regional trainings. One took place in St. Joseph College, Laibi in Gulu, and it was a TOT, training of trainers. Madam Speaker, after the TOTs were never facilitated to take this training.
So continue with the other training.
Continue with the training. And this is the gist of the matter. That up to now, the training has not reached the last teacher there. And we have gone into these examinations when many teachers are still green about what is being examined. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Much as you did the TOT, but the TOTs have not disseminated the information up to the lowest teacher. Yes, Matov.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I also want to thank the Shadow Minister for the report. Actually, it captures everything. Right Honorable Speaker, first of all, I want to make some amendments. The State Minister for Education previously stated that at result 3 and 4, you will not qualify to get a certificate. But what he did not do is to say whether if somebody does not qualify to get a certificate, can he redo those particular subjects where he failed, then to qualify for a certificate.
Is that what the minister said, that no, you do not qualify?
Actually, yes. You don't qualify for a certificate, but they give you a transcript. So there is no provision. The amendments I want to make is that we have a provision for someone to redo those particular subjects, then to qualify for a certificate. Then,
maybe if I could ask, when you fail in a class, don't you repeat that same class?
Actually, apparently in post-secondary...
Aisha, I'm not talking about retakes, I'm talking about as the equivalents. When you fail, say in S2, you fail a particular subject, don't you repeat?
No, it depends on the percentage or the pass mark. But what happens, Right Honorable, at lower secondary, senior 3 or 4, you are qualifying to go to upper secondary. Okay? Now, if you fail that particular subject, you don't get, according to the minister, you don't get a certificate. Okay? What he did not improvise, that you can redo what you failed to qualify at the end of it for a certificate. Okay. Then secondly, Right Honorable, I've seen and I've heard what you said, that we cannot go back since we have the competence-based curriculum already. But I worry that we might suffocate in between. Because
I said you don't go to S1 the way it is portrayed outside there. What people understand out there, that if you sat S4 and you go to back to S1, no. That is the misinformation that we are trying to say. that is not correct.
That is
That
not
should be
correct.
corrected.
That is not correct, Right Honourable Speaker. And then the issue that the study material for the competence-based curriculum is not in line with what all other schools have. I would hope that the minister would provide to the country what kind of material would be adequate or needed for the subjects to be conducted elsewhere. And then lastly, a second, the last statement I want to make, Right Honourable, when you look at the grading, he made notion to A, B, C, D, E, and F. Well, he said F is the failure.
It stops at E.
It stops at E. I wanted us to amend and delete E and then have F. Because,
why?
Right Honourable Speaker, worldwide, in academics.
Honourable members, let's not go into operational. We are not the ones who did this curriculum. We are not the ones who did the grading. It has come to our knowledge that we need to have some things debated upon and understood by the public. So for us to start saying, delete this and put this.
Right Honourable, this is an opinion that is subject to your guidance, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
And then as I wind up, Right Honourable, the issue of having the infrastructure, like you said.
2 minutes, because now the people are speaking like endless.
Right Honourable,
2 minutes.
The issue of infrastructure would be very much appreciated if all institutions of villages had electricity, and we call for that to have electricity transported at most in all the sub regions of the country. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Honourable Musasi, what would it cost us if we handle the rare projects that were not completed the way we are handling the roads, by giving each district, say, 1 billion to finalize on the rare projects? What would it? It is food for thought. You will come back and give us.
Madam Speaker, your question cannot be answered now. It is something we need to study. And I therefore agree with you that let it be our food for thought.
Yes. You know, we have uncompleted projects. The roads, the poles were dropped in some places. The REA used to do a very good job. But REA, when REA was closed, left with everything. But if we said we are allocating money per district, what would it cost us? That is something you should think of as we think of the next corrigenda. The next corrigenda. And it should be in this financial year, really. It should be in this financial year. Because people are bleeding down there. People need power. And now when we are talking about this curriculum here, we need power. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for this opportunity. We are into these statements because of our failure to understand the grading. And that is why both the minister and the shadow gave us statements. It's about the grading that most of us were failing to understand. And because of that, I want to first give information, Right Honourable Speaker, that the teachers all the markers that went on strike were actually markers for A-level and specifically physics and mathematics. So those strikes have very little relationships to the grading we are talking about. That is the information I wanted to give. Number two, this gave an opportunity for the shadow minister specifically to highlight the so many problems that we have under education. And I think it is good they have come out, and the issues of power and others have already been talked about, and I'm happy, Madam Speaker, you are requesting or directing our Minister for Finance to make sure that something is done. And from the statement of the shadow minister, I see the biggest problem is around the marking and the grading of the project work. And for me, my suggestion is project work should not be left without boundaries. I mean, not every student is to take anything that they like. For instance, Madam Speaker, you spoke about the swimming pool where there is no, you talked about it. Madam Speaker, just a minute.
Okay, Muse.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was saying, for me, I would suggest that the issues around project work should be the areas that are in the normal skills training. We don't bring things which are outside the normal skills training. And finally, Madam Speaker, I realize that this competency-based curriculum, we shouldn't have started it at O level. We should have actually started from primary, and it grows upwards. That is my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Hassan. Aisha has refused. Hassan.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, issues of curriculum shifts, it's a long process. And the fact that our country has embraced a new curriculum, it's a whole new level that we need to embrace as a country. But again, issues of readiness need to be addressed. One of the key issues that we need to think about is sensitizing our parents, especially the parents, on this new curriculum. Because there's two important components that parents do not understand. Curriculum is based on assessment, and assessment has two components, which is assessment for learning and assessment for results. Our parents are more inclined in knowing the marks and how their students or their children have performed at schools. And now that drives them away from the whole point of this new curriculum, which is basically a curriculum for or assessment for learning. So the more we focus on explaining these things, especially through our schools, and the knowledge gets to our parents, it will enable this new curriculum process to go on. But Right Honorable Speaker, readiness of this new curriculum is of paramount importance, because we have already seen that most of the schools have been challenged in terms of materials used at schools. Some of the schools, especially rural schools, do not have access.
Hassan.
Thank you. Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. I want to address myself on two issues. One, at the beginning of this new curriculum, there was a provision that if somebody has completed Senior 3, then that person will be awarded a certificate from UBTEP. But along the way, that information dies down. Maybe if it is still alive, the minister can help to bring it back, because many schools were opting for that. Number two, there's these people, sometimes the 80% that the child is supposed to get as a final marks, there are many things that always arises for somebody not to get the 80%. It could be sickness, it could be maybe somebody might have, anything might have happened. Not that the person is that very poor in knowledge, just that they can get that 80% to make to 20 so that the person can pass with grade 1 or result 1. In these situations, the provision for repeating has not been indicated, it is completely silent. Maybe the ministry should have this process evaluation to be dynamic, because not all our children or our students are that they may not get the required pass mark. Somebody may still be wishing to go beyond the level of senior 4, but due to sickness and whatever thing that may not allow the person to sit and acquire.
Alan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I wanted clarification from the Minister. When you use a grading system of ABC, it's almost similar for that of A-level, whereby it's the same system of ABC which is used. So we need a clarification from the Minister, whereby we may not get confusion between the grading system of A-level and the O-level, because we may come at the same square when the results of A-level are being released of A-level. So we need that clarification. And secondly, on page 8.
Honorable Minister, because the A-level that is going to be released, you'll find somebody has A, that is the grading system.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, secondly, on page 8, the Minister gave us, of his statement, he gave us a sample of the transcript, how it looks. I think you could also give us the sample of the certificate, whereby the public is not maybe confused if there are some changes, if possible. Okay. And lastly, the Minister should use your structure so that you sensitize and try to sensitize the masses about this new grading system, because it is a big challenge in the public. And lastly, the concept is very good, but the challenge, the practicability, how to implement this curriculum. Like in Nakaseke, most of the schools, Wachato, Chiwoko, Chikamulo,
thank you. As the Minister does creates awareness of the new curriculum, once we have understood the new curriculum, we should also be able to give out information out there about the new curriculum. Madam Teacher, Flavia.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Madam Honorable Speaker, I have two challenges with the curriculum, but I want to appreciate it from a teacher's perspective. The very first reason why I appreciate it is because it's skill-based. Before, as teachers, we are churning out students who we would later on meet on some streets, although my students never were on the streets because I taught in a very good school, so they all passed. But some students under the old curriculum would render teachers helpless, because you find your student at the street looking for a job, wondering why you even ever taught that person, because we are not addressing or meeting their needs. But right now, this new curriculum addresses some of those, so it's a good thing. However, we need to address some of these challenges. The very first one, the issue of evaluating teamwork, values, those values is very important, because under the new curriculum, students are working together. How are we assessing them and how are we giving them marks for that? That never came out clearly in your statements. And yet we need it clear because it's one of the key issues we are trying to promote in the new curriculum for people to have those values. The second one is the issue of the grading. And I'm just going to give a recommendation. It's important, just like Honorable Alan has said, that the Ministry of Education continuously sensitizes both the teachers, students, and others, and parents to be able to know what this grading is. And this has to be taken on very hard and very tightly in the school starting now. The third issue I have is the new curriculum that's running all the way to A level and the old curriculum. But the new curriculum at A level right now, the information we have is A level is not yet ready with the new curriculum. And yet...
Thank you, Ekudo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. He has accepted. I'm a teacher. So that's because right now, students are getting selected, but they are going into a new curriculum at A level that's not yet ready. That's bringing in the issue of the teacher competence that are going to be able to take them on. And finally, where are you going to put the students of the old curriculum that failed and they can't be accommodated anymore in O level? Those students are now going to be unaccounted for and they have no way forward. Thank you very much.
Ekudo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, my concern is in Soroti, teachers were asked to go to attend the training. And they attended the training for 1 week. But those who were not able to make it had nowhere to get another training or to continue or to go and seek for the training. So I would like to ask maybe the ministry to at least consider such. And also, parents are very happy when they see results that my daughter has passed with the E. Now, the person comes to you that, can you support me? And they are moving up and down. There is no school that takes somebody. Maybe the ministry should come up with some guidance such that these people will not continue moving with the D. Right Honorable Speaker, the other thing I would like to say is that the schools that have performed well are embracing the program, the new curriculum. Like Ave Maria High School in Igweri, all the children they all passed. And they are very happy. Not they are very happy. But the curriculum is too costly that in the case of project work, you have to really spend a lot. And the schools are really having a lot of the burden. So, Madam Speaker, it is one of the things that I want
Moses, Dennis, Milton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Pius.
Madam Speaker, I have two issues. One relates to, Madam Speaker, the way we are fumbling now with the A-level curriculum. It is suggestive that
who is a fumbler?
Madam Speaker, I'm looking at the ministry.
No, the ministry is not fumbling.
Madam Speaker, let me make it clearer. The way the ministry is fidgeting with the A-level curriculum.
Stop borrowing OHT was one.
Honorable colleagues. Okay. Madam Speaker, of course, you first seek. Madam Speaker, so what is not orderly?
There is an order.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, we are discussing the new lower secondary curriculum grading system and in totality. well aware that the Ministry of Education and Sports, under the leadership of the First Lady, Mama Janet Museveni, with the very 3 competent state ministers, are working with the technical people to ensure that, Madam Speaker, we roll out the competence-based lower secondary curriculum to A level.
Hold on. I have something very important. Honorable Musasis wants to get out. You not go out first, give us a commitment that you're coming to report to us on our 1 billion per district for REA. And remember, that money is what will make these members come back.
Madam Speaker, when I am reporting on the NDP4, I will accompany the NDP4 with the feedback from the request of the House.
Thank you. Honorable members, that is an actual deal. He's going to come with that request fulfilled.
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
thank you. I want to inform this House that the Ministry of Education, we brought a statement informing this House and informing the public that we are working on ensuring that the lower new competence-based curriculum is aligned to the A-level competence-based curriculum. And this has been time and again communicated.
Honorable Minister, you're responding.
Right, Honorable Speaker, is my brother a very good friend in order to say that the Ministry of Education is fidgeting with the A-level curriculum? Isn't that an insult? And is he in order? And I request he withdraws that statement.
Moses, that is really
Madam Speaker.
below the belt.
Madam Speaker, I apologize and withdraw that statement. But what I wanted to make clear is the unreadiness of the Ministry of Education to adopt the graduates.
Wasn't that curriculum passed by this House? The new curriculum.
Madam Speaker, I'm discussing the A-level curriculum. Madam Speaker,
you're discussing about the A-level.
Yes, the graduates of O-level will join A-level. And
they are going to go back to the old curriculum.
That's the problem, Madam Speaker. And even if they were to go...
When are you changing the new the A-level to a new curriculum?
Because some of us, Madam Speaker, have children who have graduated from O-level and are going to A-level.
When are you changing the...
Madam Speaker, we made a statement on this floor that we are aligning the new lower secondary competence-based curriculum to the A-level, which is competence-based. This very fourth, the students who are just joining senior 5, they are going to embrace the competence-based curriculum.
That curriculum in 2S6. The ones who have just completed are going with that curriculum.
Precisely, they are going with the competence-based curriculum, and that is it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lastly, Madam Speaker, we, like Honorable Migade made it clear here, that we, the island constituencies, have, Madam Speaker, you put it also right, we don't have power, and where it is, or it would be, still the facilities that use power are not available. But island constituencies and communities have no access to primary schools, secondary schools as a requirement or as a commitment by government. We also call upon government and appeal to you. When you are allocating resources,
don't have primaries.
Madam Speaker, I have a sub-county called Mazinga, a whole sub-county. We have only one primary school, and the sub-county consists...
But you have secondaries.
we have 2 secondary schools,
So
Madam.
how do they get children that go to secondary?
Madam Speaker, those are the challenges. Always we put to the ministry and they give responses that are looking clumsy sometimes, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Minister, take note. Dennis, Milton,
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I am very aware that we are discussing grading, but I also want to use this opportunity that we have 2 ministers for education. In my constituency, for example, Butuntumula sub-county, we do not have a single secondary school, government school. So it is very hard, almost impossible, in a rural district, Katikam North County, for children to access free education. I am happy the minister is saying, yes, it is true, he is aware, we do not have one. Secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, I am seeking for clarification from the minister on what happens if a student fails 1 or 2 subjects. Do they have to repeat a full calendar year, or they can retake those subjects that they failed?
Thank
Lastly,
you.
Right Honourable Speaker, is on the minimum entry requirement for students under this curriculum to join tertiary institutions. What is the minimum that is required? Because previously students have not been enrolling where they only failed. So students that have E or D or what is required for enrollment? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, besides grading, which most of the members have alluded to, there is categorization of these grades. Madam Speaker, honourable members, when the results were released, my house had a lot of tension because I had one student that got 7 A's and 2 B's. Then another one got 5 C's and 4 D's. Now they were all categorized under result 1. Now this one was saying, no, you have failed, you have so many CDs and D's. This one said, no, but we are in the same category. So we needed to clarify as far as categorization of grades is concerned.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, the second issue is about tertiary institutions like my colleague was observing. Last year, the Minister of Education had told us, this house, that they were phasing out recruitment of S4 graduates to nursing institutions and the PTCs. They said there will be senior 6 graduates that will be enrolling for these tertiary institutions. As we talk, schools are already announcing for this recruitment, but the government has not come out to clear to tell people whether they have dropped the other earlier position of saying no more recruitment of senior 4 graduates, it should be senior 6. We should come out clear and tell the country so that we live from a point of knowledge and information. I thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Pius, then Jennifer. Pius, Jennifer, Jessica.
I'd already been given an opportunity.
Yes.
Right Honourable Speaker, I am a teacher by profession, and I'm still teaching. I'm a volunteer teacher at Satito Winyi up to today.
Speak to the microphone.
The other problem is some teachers are totally demotivated, especially the arts teachers, because of the difference in payment. My suggestion is, even if science teachers are being paid more, at least the arts teachers should be given something, at least 50% of what is paid to a science teacher, at least. Because you find a head teacher who did the arts is being paid 2 million, and the teacher in the classroom is being paid 4 million. It is very hard for a head teacher to supervise, and in most cases, the results in schools depend on the management of a school, and the manager of a school is a head teacher. So I propose that at least there should be an enhancement of salaries for arts teachers. Then secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, at least we should do, my suggestion is, let's have a minimum government policy of having at least a school in each sub-county, so that at least we give opportunities to every Ugandan. In my own constituency, Right Honourable Speaker, I have 3 sub-counties without a single secondary school. I submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I want to thank the previous speaker about the salary disparity between science and arts. This has caused a lot of problem in Uganda, and he has spoken my mind in that. Second, Right Honorable Speaker, the new curriculum is a very good curriculum. Only that it has been approached wrongly. It has been top-bottom approach. Because some of us, people who are on the ground, are not consulted. And this is exactly why some of these challenges are coming. How I wish it was bottom-top approach. I don't think all these would really arise. And then secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, the government likes working in silo. Knowing that this curriculum it needs a holistic approach. Things like ICT, the issues of electricity. When we were celebrating the 39th NRM Day in Maracha District, the NRM chairman, in protest, gave a seed school poor lambs. That's what is common known as Tadoma, for a seed school in protest, because they did not have power, and there are so many schools that are not connected to electricity.
Thank
so
you.
I want to thank you so much for proposing that 1 billion be given to district for electrification. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jessica. David.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to thank government for this new curriculum. It is what is going to empower our children, our community to become more self-reliant than what we used to do. However, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I am a teacher by profession. I would have loved that we started this thing from primary, so that we keep building on. When you are advancing, it means you are building on what you have learned. Therefore, I am recommending that if government can take this, let's reconsider starting this thing from primary. To Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I propose that we budget for more money, especially for the practical aspect. If we don't do that, that means we shall fail in implementing this curriculum, because what differentiates this new curriculum from the old one is the practical aspect. And lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of the infrastructure development, which was presented by the opposition, the shadow minister, this also calls for more money. For example, I have schools which are grass-thatched houses. Therefore, I cannot even talk about electricity if it is grass-thatched, where learners are. What will you expect? Therefore, I think the policy that in all the parishes we should have a primary school, government-aided primary school, that should be taken up seriously.
Thank you. Daudi,
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have 3 issues to raise. Number one, I wanted to ask the Minister to avail us with the plan. How do the Ministry intend to have a plan for capacity building for the teachers? This one must be very clear. And then number 2, Madam Speaker, I also would ask the Ministry to come out with a comprehensive report of the number of schools without power, number of schools without the library. If they can avail us with all those detailed reports, and then the detailed reports will accompany with the plan. What do they have in place? For how long will they intend to equip the school for the learners to be able to build the capacity very effectively? And then lastly, Madam Speaker, on the issue of the material are very costly. And then we would also ask the Ministry to equip the school with the photocopiers. the machines to allow our children to be able to photocopy freely without any cost. Because if you put, for example, some of the districts like Agago, where we are still facing difficulties, the school is not equipped, we have challenges with security, children are getting difficulty of the payment of school fees, so it will be difficult for them to afford and get the money.
Esther.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the government for the new curriculum, and I want to thank the Shadow Minister for bringing out these pertinent issues that we are really basing on to enhance the implementation of the new curriculum. Right Honourable Speaker, we have so many issues, and the honourable colleagues have talked a lot, but what we need is to expedite the process of training others. Because one colleague told us that we've only trained the trainers, but the implementers have not been trained. Right Honourable Speaker, I request that the Minister of Finance expedite the process of releasing the money to train this, because the term has started and the studies are continuing. So we need to expedite the process of getting that funding, and we train the rest of the members of the staff who are supposed to do the implementation. Right Honourable Speaker, it is not only the teachers, but all students and the parents and other stakeholders don't know the ranking, the rating, and all that. So it will depend upon the training that will be done by the trainers, the rest of people who are supposed to implement the curriculum. That will lead.
James.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the Shadow Minister for the report. Right Honourable Speaker, we used to have a program called SSEMOTE for science teachers, where they are taken for refresher training every holidays. And I would like to know whether this program still exists. And if they exist, it will be very important to help our teachers in terms of training so that they understand this program very well. Right Honourable Speaker, this program is very well in a sense that if you go to some area, like in my district, Right Honourable Speaker, if you bring our students to Central here, just take them to a coffee farm. They will not know what is this crop practically, but in paperwork they know what a coffee is. But if you go to the field, they cannot know. Therefore, taking us to this practical aspect is very important. But what we need is, we need teachers to understand the content and give to our students. Then that is all. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Alfred. Isaac. Adakas doesn't know his name.
Thank you. You always call me Adakasi. So I was a bit confused, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
But thank you. Madam Speaker, let me join others to say this has been a great move for our country. I think I would say that the curriculum-based, the competence-based curriculum is the biggest step we have made in education, I think, since colonialism. And I wish we could stop the talk that is guided by exam. Because most of the people who are complaining, even including teachers, they were grown by exam, to the extent that even on this curriculum, they are trying to coach. So I wish we could just focus. It's for me, the issues we are facing, they are necessary for us as a country to face those issues. The issue of capacity building, the issue of retraining and retooling of teachers, those are things we should just confront. But as a matter of fact, this is the way we should go. We have come from a point where our kids could not produce anything. They study up to senior 6. If you ask them, what do you produce? They can't produce anything. UBTEB has proved that after 3 years, you can have a student wire a house electronically, and they can earn money to further their education. So I think for me, those are the sentiments I wanted to put. In Kabaramaido, for us, we need more classroom spaces, we need laboratories, but those are across the country. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Of course, acceptability of a new idea is always not easy. Isaac?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to thank you for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I want to appreciate the government of Uganda for introducing the competence-based curriculum, which in fact should have started some times back. Madam Speaker, I want to appreciate all the other colleagues, but I want to recommend that the cumulative assessment forms, the 12-page forms which were led by Honorable Seungu, to be provided by the government. And for your information, between 2000 and 2004, when I was still a primary school teacher, Ministry of Education in fact provided the cumulative assessment forms even for the primary schools. And for your information, this curriculum had in fact started in primary schools. I taught in primary for 20 years. And the curriculum had started, only that there was inconsistency. So I think if that can be done, it will reduce the cost of the curriculum. Secondly, the issue of staffing gap. If we are to really implement this curriculum, we really need to address the staffing gap in all the schools. For example, Madiokolo district, the ministers are aware, operates at 18%. In fact, it is the district with the lowest teachers in this country. And therefore, when you look at the results, it is in one of the least performing. So I think this is cross-cutting. If that...
Isaac? Stella?
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank the Shadow Minister for the report. It was a very good report. It was actually our report. And I liked the ending of that report. It says that we have to not look forward, rather backward, but to own it up and look forward. I think it was long overdue to adopt this curriculum of competence test, other than going in for the results. To me, there are a few things which I need to emphasize here. The minister, the government must take this in good faith, must roll out a plan. And this plan should be holistic. We should be involving even the stakeholders. I don't know why we do things in boardrooms and we expect others to copy them and implement the latter. We have a very good structure in this country. We have local governments. We have got regional offices for education. I don't know why we are not helped to understand this new curriculum. Because all over Uganda, be it some of the teachers, they don't understand the grading. We don't know what's going to happen for the children who are not going to be admitted to schools. We really don't know. So to me, I'm also adding the voice that one, the train of trainers should be, that program must be implemented as fast as yesterday.
Thank you.
Two, the learners and the teachers, for heaven's sake, should be trained to know what they are training and what the students are expected from the training and exams. So far, many countries all over the world have got hotspots. Wherefore, they have embraced solar systems. They have embraced solar systems which are cheaper and accessible to all parts of the country. As I talk right now, most other than Bududa, where I come from, Bududa is even worse, but I believe in other districts are the same.
Stella?
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I want to appreciate Honorable Seungu, I hope I pronounce it well, for the, yes, I'm on, for the report that you gave. And I also want to thank the government for the introduction of the new curriculum. This was a curriculum that was appreciated and caused excitement among Ugandans just because it promotes creativity and innovativeness among the learners, and that is what we are looking for self-reliance among our population. But the question is the issue of its applicability. Honorable Speaker, there is an expression of disappointment. Learners have actually expressed that teachers do not know what they are translating to them, because
some schools direct students to go and buy textbooks, certain type of textbooks which I believe contain the content that is supposed to be taught in the new curriculum. But as they teach, the teachers teach something different as compared to what is in this curriculum, which the learners expect the teachers to explain to them. So this has caused mistrust and actually has led to loss of confidence and trust among students.
Honorable Nzima.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank Honorable Seungu for the report and also the Minister who had laid his report the other day. I have observation in 3 areas. One is the issue of continuity. Much as the Minister has said, the students who have sat their examination and who are supposed to be admitted in A level are going to continue with the same program. This seems not to be the information on ground. Much as the curriculum for A level is already there, but the information is there is no money availed to train A level teachers. Most of the trainings were for O level. Also, money has not been availed for publishing books or acquiring books for A level. So the element of continuity, as the Minister has said, is not true. These students are going to be admitted, it seems to be on the old what? On the old curriculum. But then also, Madam Speaker, it is important to appreciate the new curriculum. I equally support it because it promotes innovation, critical thinking, research, and also self-learning. Madam Speaker, some of the components of the learning, I don't know whether it is friendly to the poor people. For example, one of the observations by Honorable Seungu that learners are supposed to publicize their project work in the media, on these the newspapers. How can this be possible to an ordinary person? So yes, we can do the innovation, bring new teaching methods.
Kumi.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Right Honorable. I appreciate the Minister and the Shadow Minister for the reports. Madam Speaker, one, I want to actually challenge the Ministry of Education and Sports to engage with the Ministry of Energy. As a member of Environment and Natural Resources Committee, last week we were engaged on a new program, that is UECCC, that's the Uganda Electricity Capitalization Credit Company. And they gave us a list of companies that are able to provide modern solar products that can handle even computer services in the schools. If the ministry does that, it would now remain a task to Parliament to see that we allocate more money under under USE, so that some solar panels can be bought as we wait a completion of the electrification. Madam Speaker, on grading, I want to challenge the Minister in the forthcoming certificates. Let there be interpretation for the results. Because in O level right now, E is a fail. But in A level, E is a pass. So that's why I support the colleague that the parents are not able to interpret the grades and know which one is a pass and which one is a fail. How does the new curriculum cater for children who miss coursework? Madam Speaker, especially in the private schools, they send fees defaulters away. They can send them away then for, they can send them away for the whole month, 2 months. When they return, it finds them when they have no results for the coursework, and yet these results contribute to the overall
grade.
Museveni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also appreciate the government for introduction of the new curriculum. But you know, transition can't be easy, Madam Speaker. And I urge the Ministry of Education to take our submissions in good faith. Because there is public outcry. As leaders, we are being approached even by teachers, especially A-level. And they show that they are not yet ready to receive the senior 5 students to take them on. So when you are submitting here, Madam Speaker, we are alerting the Ministry of Education. We appreciate the new curriculum, but the ministry should put more effort to see that we transit, because we are on the future of this country. These children, they are the ones to be here tomorrow after us, but we are supposed to prepare them and prepare for them. The ministry, really, I appreciate the shadow minister for the report. I'm from this side, but we take it in good faith. And even the ministry should take it in good faith, so that we can get a solution, a better solution for this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
We need to work together for the good of this country. Alebtong, Donald, Education, Nathan.
Thank you.
Cuthbert.
Thank you, Right Honourable
Adigaba.
Speaker. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to implore the Minister that even though she has already mentioned that we have done TOT, I would like to implore her and the Ministry to consider serious refresher training for those who were already trained. I already have information that most of the schools who were trained, those in the rural areas and those within Kampala and areas around Kampala, have been doing their grading in a different way. Whereas UNEB and the National Curriculum Development Center at the end came up with a new grading system, that one which is ranging from A up to E. Schools have been using the max range, which is 2.5 to 3.0, that is for outstanding. And then 1.5 to 2.49, considering it as moderate. That is totally different from what came out with UNEB, and that's why all over the country, parents and students themselves were also shocked to see a different grading system. I implore the ministry, please help to do a refresher training even for those schools and those teachers who are already trained in this new curriculum. Otherwise, it is a very good thing. We welcome it as a country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right Honourable Speaker, I will start from where my sister from Aleptong has stopped. Right Honourable Speaker, when you see the confusion at UNEB and the surprise the students got when they got UNEB results, it shows to us that even at stakeholder level, we are not yet mobilized for this new curriculum. Right Honourable Speaker, my submission regards the competition within students. Right Honourable Speaker, the targets our students set at all level is what motivates them to read very hard, Right Honourable Speaker. Initially, students would set to get maybe 8 in 8. Those are distinction 1, 1, 1, 1. And those who fail would get 9, 9, 9. We call them kadenges. But in the current grading, Right Honourable Speaker, it is very difficult for the ordinary Ugandan in the rural area to celebrate whether a student has passed or not. My colleague, Honourable Milton, hinted on it. You find somebody getting AAA, somebody getting CCC, all of them are celebrating. But as a result, 1. But initially, we would know, school X, people have got 8 in 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Others have got maybe 10 in 8. We want the ministry to be very clear. Who are these who have got 8 in 8, for example? Who are those who have got 10 in 8? Who are those who have got 9s in everything? So that our community is aware. Right Honourable Speaker, the ministry needs to roll out the mobilization and sensitization to all communities, because even us at parliament level, some of these things are still not very clear. What do you expect with our rural people in the communities? Right, Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm just giving information. Now, when it comes to grading, I was a culprit in 1982 when UNEB wrote a letter to all schools in April 1982 that we are no longer going to have 100 out of 100, we are no longer going to have 260 or what, and they started counting 1, 2, 3. So I was among the culprits. So when a change comes, with the time, because previously they used to do ABCD, and you do, it was a matter of shading. So we're the first ones who started by writing, and we wondered whether we would pass, but we passed. So what is important is that the ministry should continue doing reviews, that where you have gone wrong, you always perfect. Now, for grading of O level, what happens is that since there is that bit of project or the practicability of it, somebody can have EEE, but eventually there is a C, which is a good pass in practicals. So meaning, this person has not totally failed. Then two, there is what is written behind the certificate in the faint form, telling you about the grading. That from this to this, that is an A, from this is a C. So it is always behind. Overleaf, this is always given. By the Minister of Education, the reviews are very important, and I'm sure we shall move forward. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Cuthbert.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to join my colleagues to appreciate the Shadow Minister for the statement, but also the report that was read by the Minister of Education. Right Honourable Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker, I just started. Right Honourable Speaker, and please, I want to congratulate the Minister of Education for churning out the pioneer students under the new curriculum. And Right Honourable Speaker, my appreciation is only in one aspect, that it seems the old curriculum was really condemning our children as failures. Right Honourable Speaker, when these results were released under the new curriculum in the whole of Kamwenge district, we did not register any student in result 2, so all our children passed in result 1. And for that matter, we do not have failures in Kamwenge under the new curriculum. But Right Honourable Speaker, under the old curriculum, we used to register some. So for me, I'm quite happy that the new curriculum is supporting us to ensure our children pass. And Right Honourable Speaker, every time we swear in, the first submission of members of parliament in this house is never put to order, never put to point of procedure, because it is a maiden speech. So I want to regard the first set of results raised by Minister of Education as a maiden results under the new curriculum. So therefore, we expect that definitely there could have been issues, but there is room for continuous improvement. And as a house, as a country, let us support the Minister of Education to improve continuously. Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Minister of Education, you should listen to all the advices, all the concerns, and see where you can make changes. It's not just a matter of getting defensive, but where changes can be made, we should be able to make changes, because it is a maiden thing. You will not assume you know it all. You don't know it, we all don't know it, we are learning, and we must work with it. Yes, Angora?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. You've rightly said it, that let the Minister of Education take concern in all the interests that have been raised. Madam Speaker, on Saturday, I had a big funeral in my constituency that attracted very many mourners. And some parents raised this concern of the good results that had been realized in most of the schools. And I did ask teachers who were within the funeral to come and explain this concern, good concern, but also for the benefit of the parents. Teachers were pushed from every tent and they resisted to come in front to explain. One teacher came and they tried to explain. And they said, yes, we are many here, but we all seem not to understand these good results, but also the curriculum. So as it was alluded to by the Honorable Sewungu, continuous teacher training as far as this appreciation of the curriculum is very important. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for the concern that you've raised to the Minister of Finance, that let's see how to facilitate every district with the funds to enable us meet the demands of infrastructure as far as like concerns of electricity and others is involved. So, Madam Speaker, that is important and it will create harmony amongst all of us here. Not only electricity, but also education facilities like classroom blocks, also health. It should cut across. If we give a uniform quota to every district and we also instruct the district to divide those resources per constituency, we shall balance up the country and we shall see services reach everywhere. So, and also lastly, Madam Speaker, parents are key stakeholders in this. Children come from...
Robina. Lawrence.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank Honorable Sewungu for the report and thank the Honorable Minister. I thank government for the competence-based curriculum. I believe all we are discussing are teething problems of a new system. Sometimes people fear and they resist change. I call for a positive attitude and sensitization of the learners, the teachers, and the parents. We need a mindset change. The teachers, I think, were used to moonlighting in various schools and to their comfort zone. And so all we need is a change of attitude. I was glad that everyone had got result 1 in my constituency, many of the people. There was no depression. We didn't understand, but in that we thank God for the good feelings that came up. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable. For a very long time, I had been questioning myself. Why should we learn about Songhai Empire, Tennis Valley Authority, the types of trees in British Columbia forests? How do we get income from that in our household? I'm happy for this. I'm happy for this new curriculum because it is going to impart skills in our children. My experience working in Southeast Asia is for them they can turn a mango into juice and keep it for 1 year. For us, we can only write 50 pages of essays about mangoes. We need to stop on that. On the project work, the project should be able to address the problems we have in this country. We have waste issues in the country. We have issues to do with storing of our agricultural produce. We have a lot of post-harvest handling issues. We need to address projects along that line. But the question is whether these children can manage that high-level project. On the paperwork, I hear 1 ream for 16 students. We are talking about energy efficiency and conservation. Why do we still create more waste in the country? We should find a way to address that waste management. On the grading system, I got ABC when I was in A-level in 1997. I thought that system could have moved like that throughout so that we understand it the way we understood A-level. If they have 8 subjects, and then they will have 48 points if they scored A's in all the papers. But that leave aside, we need to address the challenges around this curriculum. It is a good thing that will power the economy of this country. And we address the issue of infrastructure. Thank you.
Sarah, Mapendusi, Goretti, Ethan.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister of Education together with the Shadow Minister for their statement. And I want to really appreciate this new curriculum because as you all are aware,
Right Honorable Speaker, we are struggling with one big problem today of competition among schools. And this competition has led to children getting depressed because some schools, when the children are in the final candidate class, they are actually sent away to other schools because these schools only want certain grades, Right Honorable Speaker. So we must appreciate, but we need to deal with the challenge of the A's, because I saw even in trying to, pick the students who are going to A level, some schools zeroed on only A's. We need to stop that, Right Honorable Speaker. We need to mix these students, because a student who scores a C in a certain school, when they move to really sit with these other children who have the A's, the C's from Makerere actually perform better than the A's.
No, the ones of Makerere get A's.
No, I am speaking, Right Honorable Speaker, simply trying to explain that those children that we see getting C's may actually be better than those who are getting A's, because sometimes the children with A's are merely coached to pass exams. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to appreciate this new curriculum because it is opening the minds of the children in doing research and innovation. But my biggest problem, Right Honorable Speaker,
and I think what Honorable Sarah is saying is really correct. Having lectured in the university, you find students who come with A's in A level, A, are the ones who get retakes. They are the ones who get past degrees. They get retakes, they get past degrees, and you wonder, how did they get the A's? How did they pass very well at that time?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. So we need to actually educate the population, not on the A's and B's, but tell them that a child who has gotten result 1, result 2, result 1 has passed. That's what we need to tell them. Otherwise, we'll end up with another challenge. And the increasing suicide, Right Honorable Speaker, is another issue. Parents are moving their children from certain schools, taking them to other schools because they believe they need to get A's. If they moved to SETA, if they moved to Makerere SS, if they moved to get
what
those...
are you talking about? Why can't you talk about Tororo? Why don't you talk about TGS?
So, Right Honorable Speaker, I am only giving examples, but thank God that Makerere is one of them. But the other issue, Right Honorable Speaker, is the children who have failed. 6,974 is a big number. Can the ministry, can government tell us what they plan to do for these students? That's a huge number of people going to sit in the villages. They have failed. What next? Can we see how to empower them to do maybe the skilling? Right Honorable Speaker, we have vocational schools. Are they eligible to actually enroll in these vocational schools? So these are things that we need to actually know, Right Honorable Speaker. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I thank the ministry, but I also plead. Schools, community schools are struggling with coding, Right Honorable Speaker. They apply to the ministry to be coded. You find in a community there is no government school, but the community has actually come up and put up a school, and they struggle with the coding. So can I plead and request?
All the ministers have gone out.
No, the Minister of Local Government is...
Okay.
Right Honorable Speaker, can I plead for these schools that the Ministry of Education does not sit on these requests, but codes the schools in time. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Honorable Speaker, in December last year, 2 of the students who are beneficiaries of our foundation, Mapinduzi Foundation, approached me with very interesting request. One of them needed a simple machine for making ice cream, and another one needed a machine for making concentrates from tamarind. And when I asked them where they learned this from, they said they learned it from school. And there are many stories that you learn from the students, and this is coming from the curriculum that is currently being implemented. And so it's a very commendable step that the Ministry of Education and government has taken. But Right Honorable Speaker, new changes come with new responsibilities. Now we need to make sure that the schools have the things that are required to effectively implement the new curriculum. We need the libraries, we need the laboratories, we need a lot of things. But Honorable Speaker, you know, many schools, and I'll use the examples in Gulu, many schools are struggling to have what it takes to have the new curriculum implemented. And the teachers bear the heaviest burden. It is therefore important that Parliament gives us special attention in supporting the Ministry of Education in making sure that this curriculum is implemented effectively. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, permit me to use this opportunity to thank the members of Parliament who represent the UPDF in this House. The members of Parliament who represent the UPDF put together about 200 million. And I need to have this on record. Each one of them, Honorable Speaker, each one of them contributed.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you. Right Honorable Speaker, each of the members of Parliament who represent the UPDF contributed over 20 million shilling. They put it together and they were able to have this money
UPDF.
build a laboratory in
UPDF,
Gulu. I want
thank you. You first clap for the UPDF members.
And Right Honorable Speaker, the laboratory is working. I call upon the Minister of Education to come and see, and also if they could use this model, because what they built costed only about 200 million, but fully equipped, this is something that would have costed over 500 million. So the ministry needs to learn from that, and that can do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Linus?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The new model that we have enhances our children and gives them the capacity to think critically. So that means that we should embrace the curriculum that we have, because our children will be even thinking outside the box. A few days ago, it was reported in one daily that majority of the students that sat for UCE applied to join A-level, and majority of them applied to study science subjects. That means that the new curriculum that we had in A-level now is enabling our children to think and embrace science. And that is what the President has been agitating for. So we just need to embrace the new idea, and then we move on so that our children can become better people in future.
Ethel?
We are following the President's vision. Thank you.
Thank you. Ethel?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. No, Right Honorable Speaker.
Ethel?
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we really appreciate the Ministry of Education for this competence-based curriculum. My first diploma was in architecture engineering, and today I can do masonry work, I can do plumbing work, I can do surveying work, and all that. So many of us really embraced this curriculum, knowing that they have started onto that journey, so that by the time someone leaves S4, one is able to have a product, one is able to be on market and do something, not moving from one office to one office. We are just praying. Let the ministry sit down once again. If this has been Maiden time, if they are doing Maiden exams, plan further. Where are the gaps? What is happening? One of my projects in Wakiso is the Nafet Some program. It's aiding many children come out. As I assessed many of my S4 students, and we could interact, they are not anywhere, but we understand it's about the first time. Can we see all the gaps that happen, and we see how best. And PWDs, being that I'm the publicity secretary for the Uganda Parliamentary Forum for Children, please, Minister of Education, move to most of these secondary schools. Find out about the accessibility. Many of our PWD children, they're unable to access education due to some
Thank you. It is not only in schools, it is in most of these buildings. And the government should not rent buildings where persons with a disability cannot pass. SSEMOTE.
I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And as a former Shadow Minister for Science, Innovation and Technology, and the current Deputy Chair PAC, Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you for giving me this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I first of all thank the 11th Parliament for having this vision of ensuring that we look into the education sector. Honorable colleagues, this has been long overdue. And I think the time is now to ensure that we improve on the education sector to be more practical than being theoretical. Right Honorable Speaker, most of us have talked about infrastructure and other resources that are missing. I want to implore the Ministry of Education to get interested into taking inventory of all the schools you have in this country, right from primary, secondary, and vocational. Right Honorable Speaker, some areas are very underserved and others are overserved. There are areas you go to when a whole constituency has no seed school. Others are overserved. Even there are those secondary schools, there are those primary schools that are not of the standard of government, very far below standard. Can we take inventory and leave out some of those schools that were politically pressed? Because we are looking for resources. Honorable colleagues, if you look at the financial year 22-23, the report for the Auditor General for the Ministry of Education, their budget was slashed by half, from 600 billion to 300 billion. The ministry itself is very constrained. We are looking for resources, but we need to look for ways of ensuring that the ministry itself is enhanced financially. Right Honorable Speaker, we need to look at the issue of budgeting and prioritization. Otherwise, we talk about the 1 billion, where are you going to get it? When we look into the budget, we scatter resources anyhow. So I implore us to... Speaker.
When you talk about the inventory, as a vice chairperson of PAC, responsible for education, have you ever asked them for the inventory, asset register of all the schools, both primary, secondary, and what they possess?
Right Honorable Speaker, we did this. And we also told the Committee for Education to also pick interest, because it is the sectoral committee in charge. But we told the Minister that it is high time.
Accountability.
We did, Right Honorable Speaker, and the Minister is very aware that we requested for such information for the interest of ensuring, number one, equity, and reducing those number of schools that don't meet the service delivery standards of government.
So, do you have that report?
Right Honorable Speaker, we have the report.
Can I have it in my office?
We shall submit it, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Brenda, Honorable Mpuga.
Thank you,
and
so
Honorable Senyon.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. First, I would like to applaud you for the idea of an affirmative action on electricity. The 1 billion shillings per district is well awaited. I think it will serve our people well. Number two, Right Honorable Speaker, speaking about the new grading system, the new assessment system, I would like the Minister to tell us how they are taking care of the lack of integrity among teachers. In the previous grading system, we saw teachers cheating exams for their students for purposes of good performance. Now these are the same teachers you want to make the continuous assessment and provide you with good results. How do we take care of that? Number two, I also want to know why you regard a student that has passed the assessment on competency. Why regard him as a failed student if that person fails some of these other compulsory subjects? Right Honorable Speaker, in this program, we still have compulsory subjects. I don't know why we would compel students to go into areas even where they don't understand at all. But if a student fails some of those subjects and passes the practical subject, they will regard this student as having failed even after passing the practical subject. And the last issue is this mark of E at 50. E at 50 is so high. You cannot say any student that scores below 50 is a failed student. We have many people that passed with 40-something, 50-something, 30-something. Some of them are even here legislating. And they are failing our students on 50. So, and yet, it's not actually an honest thing. Because sometimes they keep on fluctuating these scales.
Yes.
So why are we...
Brenda.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Shadow Minister for the minority or the response to the statement, and also the Minister. Madam Speaker, when the lower secondary curriculum was being rolled out, the time it was rolled out, there was a concept of DIT certification. They said at grade 2, actually the curriculum indicated that at grade 2, that is Form 2, a child will be able to get a certificate from the Directorate of Industrial Training on the vocational side of education. I am surprised in the Minister's statement. We don't know when the ministry abandoned that. What happened? Because when you look at the results, or is it in the continuous assessment? When how does it add on the general results for the students? We need to know that. And also, Madam Speaker, I am very concerned, actually, because the Honorable Dr. Kadichu is the Minister for the primary section. And when we are discussing the curriculum, it is a very, very important subject for this country. I expected the substantive Minister for tertiary education to be here, secondary, upper secondary. And also maybe because you can better understand these issues when you even see the demeanor of those who are giving the submission. But it looks like the ministry has many ministers, but the one who is in charge of secondary school education had to be here. And also, Madam Speaker, finally, I wanted to talk about this curriculum is this curriculum is very, it's a new curriculum, and I expect...
Honorable members, you'll find that Honorable Muyingo is not here because they have a rota. Today it is supposed to be Honorable Kaduchu to be in the house. Tomorrow it is Honorable Gwang. Tuesday is Mama is always online every day. You can come and say hi. She's online. Yes, Honorable Mpoga.
Much obliged, Right Honourable Speaker. Okay, may I begin my submission on that very issue? That we ask the Prime Minister to have their rota take into consideration the order paper of Parliament. Like that, they don't want to operate by cram work. Right Honourable Speaker, a few years back, the member submitting up before me, the Honourable Brenda, on behalf of the opposition, read our statement on the new curriculum. And I can make fresh recollections on the issues outstanding then. But to be particular, when the results were released for UCE, and it was made that only 2% failed, my construction was that we are finally landed on the moon. I said, now we are there. But then the debate after drew attention to the very issues we raised over 4 years ago, namely that this is a good development, but the implementation should not be by decree. Education is so delicate, and I'm happy, Right Honourable Speaker, you have afforded the House this whole time to discuss it, because it can make or break this nation. And the House should afford all the time to discussing it, Right Honourable Speaker. Make no apology for affording Parliament this time to debate this sector. The Minister of Education needs to understand that we have been trying to get away from the old colonial curriculum that has kept us into some form of academic slavery. And therefore, a departure must as such be taken on progressively and with intention, which is why 4 years ago, some of us were for cascading the curriculum. Science is compulsory. Science is compulsory. But all schools have science teachers compulsorily. So what happens to the children without science teachers? And science is the basis for grading them. Secondly, we argued that because you don't have resources to have every subject animus, can you begin orientation with a few teachers of a few subjects and then grow it across time? Now we know that we hurried a few actions. Because we can't roll back, and now, right on the speaker, we are in the budget period. Will the minister confirm that he has budgeted for the gaps, so that can find money to compulsorily ensure that teachers in all schools, government, private, are properly oriented on the new curriculum? Secondly, the minister should not run away from the challenge of the A-level curriculum. They have codenamed it abridged. So what are you abridging? Are you borrowing from the old confusion to the new mixture? And where are the materials? You do not produce materials, you have no money. Do you have you produced, for example, do you have a budget supplementary? A-level is beginning next week, right on the speaker. On Monday, to be particular. And there are no materials. There's no orientation of teachers. The minister needs to come clean as to their readiness on this, on starting A-level, so that our children are not taken back into the old confusion, that the progression with the teachers, because there's no system right on the speaker, better than the quality of teachers that implement it. And the minister is not ready, then we need to be sure that either they postpone the commencement and then train first, or actually waste time. A-level is 2 years, but actually 1.5 years.
Did we change the teachers when we're going into a new curriculum for O-level? Didn't we have to train the same teachers to go into the new curriculum?
Implementation is different and the content is different.
What would be important is for us to mentor, to train these current teachers, for them to be able to it is less costly. When we talk about budgeting, we may not have all the money to implement what you think can be done, but we can afford to do the training.
I hope I'm understood right on the speaker. The classes are beginning on Monday.
Yes.
There are no materials out.
You know,
in many schools, the A-level teachers are different from the O-level teachers, especially in the...
Just calm down. As owners of schools, we will handle. Cow.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, the competence-based curriculum was embraced and adopted in Uganda at the same time with Kenya, our neighbor. But unlike Uganda, which has a very good early childhood development policy, in fact, which was to lay the basis for this competence-based curriculum, Kenya started its competence-based curriculum right from lower elementary, Madam Speaker. Kindergarten, nursery. And Madam Speaker, I want to emphasize this because the early years of a child lay a very crucial foundation for the child's future learning and development. That early life, a Catholic said, give me a child and I'll return to you the child at 8 when he has already had an imprint in his head. I have been looking at a comparative study, competitive comparative study in the countries that have better education systems, like Japan, like Canada. And the truth of the matter is that competence-based curriculum was embraced right from lower elementary, right from nursery. But I don't know who bewitched. Okay, when you read the book by Patton, who says Aaron Cry, my beloved country, you are justified to quote what Paul wrote to the Galatians, that who could have bewitched us? That a very wonderful curriculum, which was meant to be skills-oriented, has to start somewhere in the space. We are grappling with the challenges, and I want to salute our minister of the Shadow Minister of Education. I will give you opportunity, my brother. I want to salute him. These challenges that the system is going to grapple with, and we are here splitting hairs on the grading system, when the real gist of the matter is that missing link, foundation. Even any engineer will tell you this who do architecture and structural designs. Will say a house will lay its strength or basis on a strong foundation. Short of that, you are building castles in the air. So, Madam Speaker, information.
Honorable Cow.
Yes, please.
We agreed we are not going to lamentations. And when we say who bewitched us, we bewitched ourselves. And I want to agree with what Honorable Mpuga was saying, that we must appropriately budget and provide for this curricula. It is our responsibility as leaders of this country. It is this house. We are talking about infrastructure development. We are talking about lead labs. We are talking about all those things that are missing. It is this house to make sure that all that is available. Once we embrace the curriculum, then we will be able to ensure that it has sufficient funds for it to be able to run. And as leaders, it is we the leaders who should support the teachers in making sure that the training is being done and capacity building is being done. Because it is a new project, it is a new curriculum that is coming up. You're not going to continue saying it fell from, it is like manna. It fell from heaven. No, 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 no. Yes, it fell. Let's own it. It is owned, it is ours, and we are going to have it. And we need to have regular engagement with entities that are involved, with the stakeholders. We engage with the teachers, engage with the children, engage with the ministry, engage with everybody, so that a sense of belonging, so that they have a sense of belonging.
Madam Speaker, I concur with you 100%.
And,
but
and as you go to Bududa, it is your responsibility to encourage parents and the community in getting involved in this kind of school. And if you don't encourage parents, you'll find so many children will drop out of school. Because the assumption would be, we don't even know how the grading system takes place. And it is still us, the parliament, that will do the oversight. So it is our thing. We must accept it, we must live with it, and we must grow it.
Madam Speaker, we have to learn to live with it. And as I conclude, I was of the view, and I hold this view, Madam Speaker, and it does no harm, that the ministry could commission a comparative study of some sort. Compare and contrast. And even now, Madam Speaker, the pioneer students of Kenya are about to sit KCPE. That is their primary living exam. But if you were to look at the projects, because I have the opportunity that some of my own study from there, the so-called projects here, and you compare, or if you were to compare the product of that curriculum-based, curriculum competence-based of Kenya and the product of our senior 4, those ones are projects which are even evidently on ground, information allowed.
You know,
and they are far ahead of us.
You know.
Thank you for information.
You know, that's why we have opposition. Opposition should be able to see what is not going correct and come with alternative policies and advise government where there are gaps. And that's and you'll be doing your job, and nobody will blame you for that. So because you've seen there's a gap, you should be able to come out and go and see what is happening there, come and we make a correction, and we own the thing. I mean, if this is the future of our children. Future of our children.
Yeah, information. I had just given me information, Madam Speaker, concerning education. Yeah.
Right, Honourable Speaker.
They are given much information.
To me, because I'm the one on the floor. Honourable Macho, now that he wears suits and is smart, we can take that information.
Macho.
He must oblige the law. Madam Speaker, you are always spot on. Madam Speaker, Mama, you are always spot on. Madam Speaker, Honorable Sewungu, I want to appreciate him today, once again, for this statement. The competence-based curriculum, to come, a dream come true, we should follow your words, Madam Speaker, that we should all own it. And on addition to that, Honorable, the presiding apostle, the chief whip of opposition, has given a reference of Kenya. Madam Speaker and my colleagues, true as a witness from the border of Busia, Kenya as a government started implementing competence-based curriculum beginning from early childhood. It has changed the setup of education on the border that every morning we have more than 10 buses collecting our children, our pupils from Uganda to take them to Kenya because of the quality of implementation. And yet we were, de facto, the hub of education in the East Africa region. But however, Honorable Mpuga has summarized it all by saying that the most important thing is the facilitation. The fact in Upu you lost this Honorable Mpuga, you really lost him. Because the words he has ushered here give us a solution. And Madam Speaker, I seek your protection from a foot soldier called Honorable Namuga. A foot soldier called Honorable Namuga. She's not giving me time to air out my views. To be done, Madam Speaker, this dream will come.
Honorable
Thank you, Madam.
Honorable Speaker.
Pardon?
Right Honorable Speaker.
Look,
Thank you so much.
So that you come.
Right Honorable Speaker. I want to particularly thank you for your summary. Just the way you summarize, I do not want to add any more. But I have this to say, Madam Speaker, that true as leaders, we have to internalize, scrutinize the budget of Ministry of Education and other sectors that would support this new curriculum to come true. We have now seen gaps, Madam Speaker, and yet this is a new academic year that has just started. We are just in the first term.
Kirabo, you're speaking next.
We have senior ones that have just joined. We have senior 2 up to senior 6th, Madam Speaker, that would have to go through the same curriculum. And it may have come to the notice of Ministry of Education earlier than today, or it has just come. I would like to ask the Minister of Education, what plans do they have to mitigate these challenges within this academic year? We have only a few months to the end of this financial year, and we have another financial year starting.
Thank you.
And it is all about resources, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Kirabo Denlop.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I also want to thank the Shadow Minister for the minority report and also the Ministry for the curriculum, because it is really adding up on the job creators. If you realize our S4 results and the students that have just left O level, they are more innovative in their stories than what we've been having, because we've been having more job seekers than creators. So I wish the ministry takes it down from primary level. Secondly, Madam Speaker, I wanted to request the ministry to adopt a graduate scheme program for the graduates to undergo a certain training that can instill some skills that are more practical, that match the jobs outside school than the theory that is taught in class. Otherwise, the curriculum is good and we all embraced it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Love.
Honourable Speaker, I think we are all in agreement that our education curriculum was long overdue for a metamorphosis. It needed to morph. We needed to tweak it around and make it better to suit the times. There's no debate about that. But I think the challenge we are grappling with now is the question of preparedness. Because what we are dealing with now, we have had 4 years, maybe 5, to deal with it. And it's still a challenge. Honourable Speaker, when you see that teachers are being trained on project work assessment after the submission of results to UNEB, that's problematic. Because you are shooting first and aiming later. This training should have happened before. And I want to appreciate our Shadow Minister for Education, who has helped us to diagnose these issues. Honourable Speaker, you were saying we should not only complain, but also offer solutions. One, we begin by diagnosing, and we have done. And we are going to make a surgical operation on these and other issues in our alternative ministerial policy statements, which we are going to bring in good time. But I want to encourage the ministry. Senior 5 is starting 3rd or thereabout. I saw the Ministry of Education through the National Curriculum Development Center was telling us they are aligning the A-level curriculum. I don't even know what that means when you say you are aligning, because students are starting school soon. Maybe, Right Honourable Speaker, something we need to do is to work in consonance with the ministry so that we keep working together at every step. Otherwise, 2-3 years later, we shall be back here complaining when A-level results are out and we are having similar challenges. People were not trained, there was no material, teaching material, and so on and so forth. Maybe we need to work with this minister, with the entire ministry, that they keep updating us every so often, so that where there are gaps, we fix them quickly, because all of us are suffering. This issue is affecting people in government, people in the opposition. We are all parents, we are leaders, and our constituents are crying out to us because they are clueless about these things, parents, teachers, students. So we probably need to get a good commitment from the ministry that they can give us regular updates, so that we don't wait to make another assessment 2 years down the road when A-level is done and there is a challenge. That will also help, so that when the ministry is having a challenge of no training materials, we sort that out here. Because now we are blaming the ministry, saying you didn't prioritize the resources that were accorded to you. The ministry is on the other hand saying Parliament did not give us adequate resources. That's not something we should be dealing with 4 years later. That's why we need to get regular updates. Maybe, I don't know, biannually, perhaps, We can agree on that, so that these can get to be remedied along the way. Honorable Speaker, students are stranded, especially those who have been told you failed. You got an E. Those who were told you passed highly and got an A, some schools are saying, even though you have A, we're not going to give you this combination in those A's you have gotten. And the child is saying, but I passed, I have A's. What does that mean? So the parent is complaining, the student is complaining, and there's absolute confusion. And the minister seems unhappy also, obviously, because we are lambasting her. Honorable Speaker, as I wrap up, let's get commitment from the ministry, the one who is representing the ministry now. Because you've told us there's going to be a schedule. She's present today. After a couple of days, Honorable Muyingo will be here.
Not that there is going to be a schedule, there is a schedule.
Oh, there is a schedule. So she's here, Honorable Muyingo will come. I'm told Mama will also be coming at some point. I'm glad there is a schedule.
Mama is already there.
We shall be waiting for her when the schedule is for her to be present. But now this is the one here. Let's get commitment from you that we begin to get regular updates so that we work on this together.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. You've heard the concerns from all members, the challenges that are facing the new curriculum, and the new curriculum is very good. We should have started long time ago. And members are saying this is something that should have started from early childhood, like what one of the Kenyans said. A neighbor of Kenya is saying that we should have started from nursery and you grow with it until you reach university or whichever. But then there is also an issue, we need to facilitate it financially. As Parliament, we must appropriate money for it. And in appropriating money for it, that is where it says we should do a continuous review on the performance of it, continuous training of teachers, a TOT, continuous capacity building, continuous assessment of these teachers. You don't only do assessment on the students, but also assessment on the teachers. And you need to do a continuous audit. Do an audit trail on what is happening, whether this new curriculum is working out to the expectation of the people or not. And then you make sure that the people out there, the stakeholders, get to understand the grading system, get to understand the new curriculum, get to understand why are you shifting from the old to the new one. People out there need to know. There are so many stakeholders in this. We have the students, you have the parents, you have the guardians, you have the legislators, you have everybody is involved. So that is what is happening, Honorable Minister. So
thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Permit me to thank you in a special way, and really I want to appreciate all the colleagues, members of Parliament, and I want to thank my brother for the statement you have presented equally on the floor. Madam Speaker, I welcome all the constructive contributions from the members of Parliament. They are quite helpful because we are all stakeholders in education. It may not be my child, but it may be my brother. It may not be your child, but it is your relative. That is the reason why you all contributed with all your heart in sincerity to ensure that we nurture this new curriculum to become stronger for the desired children, the future, and the country we all want to see. And for that, once again, I thank you. Madam Speaker, I will not have much really to respond to all issues raised, but I've taken keen note and I've recorded all the contributions of the members, which is going to help us as a ministry to put into consideration. But permit me just to give 3 points. Number one, Madam Speaker, this is the first reviewed curriculum since the colonial education system was introduced in Uganda. This is the first curriculum that has been reviewed. That speaks volume. And the new curriculum, as you've rightly put, is student-centered curriculum, people-centered curriculum, in line with the economy and job market. And for that matter, indeed, the focus is on competence. The focus is on skilling. And we are avoiding the students are providing solutions to problems with innovation and creativity. Number two, Madam Speaker, on 20th of February 2020, the First Lady and the Minister of Education and Sports, she stood right here herself, presented this new curriculum to this House, including all the discussions we are making, especially the assessment. And this curriculum was approved by this House. Madam Speaker, the implementation of this curriculum has met a number of challenges, as we have stated.
Doctor, I told you to take note of people's concern. Don't tell me the history. Honorable members.
Thank you.
Honorable members.
And I've noted.
Honorable members. Honorable members. It is your responsibility, my responsibility, and everybody's responsibility to ensure that this works. And Honorable Minister, I am telling you, we want the curriculum to work. Okay? We want the curriculum to work, and we are all going to walk the talk to ensure that we achieve success in this curriculum. And we will not have a blame game on this curriculum, where you should be open, where there is a problem, be open and say, these are the issues that we need to resolve. And as they said, people need to be trained. Why don't you continue with the training? If you cannot continue with the training because you don't have money, come back to this House. Because once you have educated nation, and when you have people who are educated, then you have educated nation. The House is adjourned to tomorrow.